the Committee on Finance to order. Good morning po. Like to acknowledge our colleagues present, the Chairman of the Committee on Justice, Senator Francis Tolentino, sir. And of course, our resource persons for this budget briefing from the Supreme Court. We have Associate Justice Samuel Garlan. Morning, sir. Associate Justice Jose Maidas Marquez. Good morning, Your Honor. And Court Administrator Justice Raul Villanueva. Morning po. And from the Court of Appeals, Honorable Remedios Salazar Fernando. Morning, ma'am. Presiding Justice po. From the Court of Tax Appeals, Honorable Roman Del Rosario, also Presiding Justice. Morning, sir. And we also have on our virtual attendees from the Supreme Court, Attorney Cuevas, the Clerk of Court, Attorney Corazon Flores, Attorney Haukulan, Ms. Ana Lea Sevilla. From the Court of Tax Appeals, Attorney Danilo Fernando, Ma'am Nenita Vargas, Officer Tomas Salazar. Maybe we'll ask our ComSec, Ms. Jamie Dileg, for if I've missed anyone, to acknowledge any additional guests, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the tax appeals, we have joining us virtually Attorney Danilo.
Sorry to interrupt. I was told Senator Padilla was also here earlier, so I would like to acknowledge his presence also. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, sir. For the Court of Tax Appeals, we have joining us virtually Attorney Danilo B. Fernando, Ms. Nanita Wela Vargas, Mr. Tomas Jerome Salazar. For the Department of Budget and Management, we have Director Mary Ann De La Vega. We have Lulu Vispo, Chief Budget and Management Specialist. We also have Ms. Marica De La Peña. For the Supreme Court Presidential Electoral Tribunal, we have Ms. Ana Lea Sevilla and Attorney Andrew Hakulan. In this room, for the Court of Tax Appeals, we have Attorney Debbie Jean Dihamco. We have Chief of Office Elsie Tiauson Forteza and Assistant Director Isidro C. Barredo Jr.
Morning.
And for the Court of Tax Appeals, joining us in this briefing, we have Acting Chief Judicial Staff Officer Maria Antoinette Aquino and Virginia Bella Cruz. I think that's all for now.
Salamat, ComSec. We'd like to acknowledge the physical presence of the Chair of the Committee on National Defense, Senator Jingoy Estrada. Morning, sir. And virtual presence of our colleagues also, Senator Bongo, Senate President Pro Tempore, Senator Lauren Legarda, and Senator Amy Marcos. Good morning, Your Honors. Before we turn it over to our resource persons for the judiciary for the presentation, we'd like to ask our colleagues if any of them would like to deliver an opening statement. Please, you are free. Of course, just to tell our colleagues that every year we show respect to a co-equal branch of the government. And as much as possible, I think in the last 4 years, at least since I've been in this seat, the Senate has always tried to augment the budget of the judiciary.
In the 2023 NEP or the National Expenditure Program, the total amount of 52.72 billion was allocated or appropriated to the entire judiciary. Compared to the current 2022 judiciary budget, the 72 billion is an increase of 12.2% compared to our budget this current year. Compared to the proposed 2023 judiciary budget of 74.18 billion, it is less than 21.46 billion or about 28.9%. Next slide, please. The judiciary's budget, the report, the variances in the proposed 2023 judiciary budget into the 2023 net as follows. For the Supreme Court and lower courts, for the Supreme Court of the Philippines and lower court, the variance, the difference with respect to our proposed budget is 19.46 billion or about 31%. The Presidential Electoral Tribunal, the variance or the difference with respect to our proposed budget is about 34.55 billion or 17% less. For the Court of Appeals, the variance is about 1.24 billion or about 15.8% less. For the Sandigan Bayan, the variance is 477 million or about 18% less. And for the Court of Tax Appeals, the variance is about 247.97 million or 23.7%. Next slide, please. The per expense item, Your Honors, the distribution of the Judiciary's 2023 budget, the National Expenditure Program, in the total amount of 52.72 billion as follows. For the total personal services, it's about 27.5 billion or 52% of our proposed 2023 per net budget of 52.72 billion. Then it comprises about 17% of the total budget outlay. The budget for the proposed budget for next year for the judiciary is about 9%, amounting to 4.7 billion. For the locally funded projects of 1.4 billion, which is about 2% of our proposed budget. And for the non-operations budget, the total of 9.9 billion was allocated or about 19% of our proposed budget for 2023. Next slide, please. The total variance between the proposed 2023 judiciary budget and the 2023 judiciary budget for the National Expenditure Program is shown in the presentation being shown right now. The total, the Supreme Court, insofar as the 21.46 billion that was not included in our proposed budget for 2023, that 19.46 billion is about 90.7% of what we have been asking insofar as the Supreme Court and lower court is concerned. Next slide, please. This is another slide showing the variance between the 2023 judiciary budget compared to the National Expenditure Program of 21.46 billion. Next slide, please. So we are now asking Your Honors reconsideration of the following amounts. The 21.46 billion, which is the difference between the proposed judiciary budget for 2023 and the 2023 National Expenditure Program budget. The 21.46 billion, we are asking Your Honors for an additional amount, 0.8 billion, 13% only of the 21.46 billion that was not included in the judiciary's budget for 2023. Out of this 2.8 billion, 1.87 billion is for the Supreme Court and lower courts, or about 66.7%. We are not asking for any reconsideration of additional budget, the Presidential Electoral Tribunal for next year. For the Court of Appeals, we are asking an additional amount of 567.52 million, Your Honors, or about 20.3% of the total amount that we are asking for reconsideration. For the Sandigan Bayan, the total amount of 239 million is being asked to be added to its post-budget for the National Expenditure Program. And for the Court of Appeals, a total amount of 124.8 million or 4.4% of the total amount that we're asking for reconsideration. May I just show your honors the items for reconsideration with respect to the amount of 1.87 billion being requested by the Supreme Court of the Philippines and the lower courts. For one, with respect to personal services, may we just to your attention the reconsideration that we're asking for, the total amount of 96.4 million. This is for the Judicial Integrity Board. This Judicial Integrity Board has been created to handle the administrative cases involving the judges and court personnel, no, among others, your honors. The said Judicial Integrity Board has already been created and organized, and it is presently headed by retired Supreme Court Associate Justice Romeo Callejo Jr. Also, your honors, may we call to your, ask you to consider as well the lump sum appropriation with respect to the reclassification, the salary grades of our first level clerks of court. The amount of 729 million is being requested for this purpose, your honors. Likewise, for the MOE, asking for an additional amount of 410 million, your honors. This is to defray the expenses for the 2023 bar examinations next year, which is headed, or the chairperson is Associate Justice Ramon Paul Hernando. Actually, the estimated amount is about 554 million, your honors, but we're only asking for an additional amount of 400 million for the said bar examinations. The Court of Appeals, your honors, the amount of 567 million being requested for reconsideration covers 365.3 million for personal services pertaining to other personal benefits and 202 million for MOE, your honors, which includes the needed budget for and funding for supplies and materials, utility expenses, repairs and maintenance, and rental lease expenses, among others, your honors. For the Sandigan Bayan, we are asking an additional amount of 239 million for personal services, your honors, mostly for other personal benefits for the associate justices and the staff, no, of the Sandigan Bayan. For the Court of Tax Appeals, likewise, the total amount of 124.8 million being requested to be added to the budget of the said largely to other personal benefits in the total amount of 103 million. Your honors, aside from asking for additional funding, may we respectfully request for some amendments to the special provisions to our proposed budget pursuant to the National Expenditure Program, particularly for two provisions, your honors. First, with respect to special provision number 2 regarding the special allowance of justices and judges. Since 2013, your honors, up to the present GAA under our RA 11639, the Judiciary has been consistently requesting reconsideration from Congress of special provision number 2, which has always been granted, your honor, since 2013. Because in the proposed wordings per the NEP, your honors, it is stated, among others, that the SADs being enjoyed right now by the members of the Judiciary will cease to exist or cease to be granted or to be given, your honors. As far as the records, as records would show, your honors, the Executive Department has for many years been allowing this particular allowance not to be given to our to the members of the Judiciary, your honors, and draw it actually is which is considered an earned benefit pursuant to 9227 would place judiciary officials in the difficult situation they were in, no, several years ago. That's the reason why we are asking, your honors, that aside from rewarding this, we are willing and we are amenable to increasing the portion that will be shared or given by the Judiciary, the National Treasury, the total amount of 697,927,476 pesos, 476 pesos as our contribution or our share with respect to this special allowance for the judiciary. Likewise, Your Honors, special provision number 7, with respect to the maintenance and other operating expenses of lower courts, again, we are asking, as we have been asking previously, Your Honors, that this special provision be amended so as not to include, among others, the specific amounts that will be distributed to the different courts nationwide, from the ITC, the Regional Trial Court, to the Sharia District Court, to the Metropolitan Trial Courts, Municipal Trial Court in cities, Municipal Circuit Trial Courts, the Municipal Trial Courts, and the Sharia Circuit Courts. Because, Your Honors, at present, we are actually already implementing by way of pilot testing, Your Honors, the equitable distribution of these MOE funds for our different lower courts, Your Honors. In fact, the interim guidelines for the administration of the MOE for the lower courts has been approved by the Supreme Court and covers already, by way of pilot testing, than 50% of our trial courts and the Office of the Clerks of Court already. May I just briefly, Your Honors, just mention the performance of the different courts in the judiciary. First, the Supreme Court, with respect to the number of personnel, it has an authorized permanent position of 1,936. This includes already the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices together with all their staff, Your Honors. For the lower courts, Your Honors, we have a total of 2,720. If we add the judges at large, it is about 2,870, Your Honors. Out of this number, Your Honors, more than 75% is actually filled already. And many of those that are not filled are newly created courts where the funding has yet to be secured, Your Honors, or we are already in the process of having them filled, Your Honors, before and have presented already the list before the Judicial and Bar Council. For the lower court personnel, Your Honors, we have a total authorized plantilla positions of 33,709. About 70%, more than 70% are actually filled, Your Honors. And the unfilled positions, again, pertain to some courts that have yet to be organized, Your Honors, because they're newly created and there is yet no funding with respect to these courts, Your Honors. But we continue to process all of these vacancies that we have. In fact, Your Honors, the Selection and Promotion Board of the Office of the Court Administrator holds meetings regularly every Monday, Your Honors. And last year, it processed more than 2,500 vacancies. At present, we have already processed more than 1,500, Your Honors. The Presidential Electoral Tribunal, Your Honors, has an authorized permanent positions of 151, Your Honors. Next, the Court of Appeals, the authorized permanent positions totals 1,166. For the Sandigan Bayan, Your Honors, the total authorized permanent position is 395. And for the Court of Tax Appeals, 265. With respect to the adjudicative performance of the different courts, Your Honors, for the Supreme Court, with respect to judicial cases, Your Honors, the clearance rate, the annual judiciary report or the 2020, Your Honors, the clearance rate is 110%, Your Honors. This means that the Supreme Court is actually disposing more cases to those that are coming in, Your Honors. That's the clearance rate, Your Honors. The accomplishment rate is actually computed by determining the number of cases that are disposed over the number of the inventory, the actual number of over the target, Your Honor, sorry, with respect to this, with respect to the adjudicative work of the Supreme Court. But insofar as the administrative and bond matters are concerned, Your Honors, the accomplishment rate is 104%, meaning the Supreme Court exceeds the target for the disposition of administrative cases. For the lower courts, Your Honors, the accomplishment rate for the regional trial courts is 97%, The factors contributing to this high accomplishment rate, Your Honors, is of course the implementation of the continuous trial guidelines and plea bargaining in drugs cases, Your Honors. But if compared to the clearance rate, Your Honor, the percentage is beyond 100%, Your Honors. Meaning that the regional trial courts or our second level courts are disposing more cases as compared to those that are coming in. For the first level courts, Your Honors, the same. In fact, it is performing a bit better, Your Honors, compared to the second level courts, because our first level courts, their accomplishment rate is more than 140%, Your Honors, and the clearance rate is even higher, Your Honors. Next slide, please. Go ahead, please. For the Court of Appeals, Your Honors, the accomplishment rate is 75%, but the clearance rate is per the annual judiciary report, Your Honors, is 97%. With respect to the Sandigan Bayan, Your Honors, the accomplishment rate is 127%. But with respect to the clearance rate, Your Honor, it is even higher. It's 252%, Your Honors. In other words, the Sandigan Bayan is disposing more cases compared to the number of cases that are coming in. And for the Court of Tax Appeals, the same, Your Honors, the accomplishment rate is 186%, so it exceeds the target set for the disposition of cases, Your Honors, especially for the period January to June 2022. For the halls of justice, Your Honors, just to report to you that for new constructions of hall of justice, we had 5 projects that have been completed already, Your Honors. For the repair and rehabilitation of halls of justice, about 3. For the delivery of furniture, fixture, and equipment, we had this covered about 6 stations, Your Honors. For the refurbishment of leased properties, we completed projects for 9 halls of justice. For new constructions of halls of justice, Your Honors, as of June 30, 2022, there are 11 newly constructed constructions, Your Honors, ongoing right now. For repair and rehabilitation, about 13 that are on 13 projects that are ongoing, Your Honors. Emergency repair, Your Honors, at least 2 have been attended to or addressed by the Supreme Court through the Office of the Court Administrator. And for refurbishment of some of our leased property, we have ongoing projects for 7 halls of justice. For new constructions under the present General Appropriations Act for 2022, we have 9 ongoing projects, Your Honors, for the procurement of a contractor with respect to the required construction of these halls of justice. We are also procuring, Your Honors, consultants for 12 projects for construction of new halls of justice. For 2023, Your Honors, the total sum of 1.2 billion was appropriated for the construction of 9 halls of justice. Just for your information, Your Honors, these are halls of justice located in Oras, Eastern Samar, Naval, Biliran, Palumpon, Leyte, Balangiga, Eastern Samar, Carmen, Davao del Norte, Santa Cruz, Laguna, Lucena City, Quezon, City, Cavite, and Baguio City. For the Philippine Judicial Academy, whose budget is also included as part of the Supreme Court and lower courts, Your Honors, integrated therein. The Philippine Judicial Academy, which is the official training arm of the Judiciary, Your Honors, for 2022, the budget is 268.2 million, Your Honors. For 2023, the proposed budget is 251.5 million, or a decrease of 16.7 million. For its accomplishments, Your Honors, a total of 107 training programs and accomplishments were done during the period, during last year, during the period January to December 2021, wherein 11,435 participated. The Judicial and Bar Council, Your Honors, the budget for 2022, the current budget for this year of the Judicial and Bar Council is 74.1 million, Your Honors. 2023, the proposed budget for the JBC is 80.5 million, or an increase of 6.4 million. Just for your information, Your Honors, last year, A total of 124 appointments were actually received by the Judicial and Bar Council with respect to all the vacancies that were processed by it. And then for January to June 2022, a total of 178 appointments were received. The major activities of the Judicial and Bar Council, of course, is to conduct deliberations with respect to the applicants, to conduct interview, also to have the applicants psychologically evaluated, and then after a final deliberation, the shortlist is submitted. The shortlist is submitted to the Office of the President. The Judicial and Bar Council has 4 regular members doing most of these major activities of the Judicial and Bar Council. For the mandatory continuing legal education office, Your Honors, the budget for 2022 is 8.6 million. For 2023, the proposed budget is 25.5 million, or an increase of 2.9 million. The MCLE office conducts the MCLE programs, monitors the same, issues certificates of compliance or exemption with respect thereto, and recommend the policies for implementation during every compliance period. So that for your information, Your Honors, because of the recommendation with respect to the completion of the MCLE requirement for the covered lawyers, Your Honor, which actually ended, the 7th compliance ended already last April 14, 2022, Your Honors, a few months ago. But because of the recommendation that there is a need to extend it, Your Honors, the Supreme Court actually extended the compliance period for the 7th compliance period, Your Honors, to April 15, 2023. Next, Your Honors, just a few more slides, Your Honors. The justice zones, just to inform you that there is what we refer to as the Justice Sector Coordinating Council. Well, the principal members are of course, the Judiciary headed by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the Honorable Alexander G. Hesmundo, and then the secretaries of the Department of Justice, presently Secretary of Justice Remulla, Boying Remulla, and of course the DLG Secretary currently headed by Secretary Benhara Abalos. So we have 9 justice zones intended actually since 2014, Your Honors, intended to increase the coordination among the justice sector stakeholders in those stations, particularly in Quezon City, Calamba City, in Baguio City, in Angeles City, Balanga City in Bataan, Bacolod City, Cebu City, Naga City, and Davao City. Next, Your Honors, as requested by this Honorable Committee, may I just present to you the budget utilization rate as of December 31, 2021, with respect to the budget for last year, Your Honors. It's almost 100% our utilization rate, Your Honors. So we have obligated almost all of our budget for last year, Your Honors. For the utilization rate as of June 30, 2022, with respect to the current budget, Your Honor, we are on track insofar as the utilization of the current budget is concerned, because most of the courts have utilized, Your Honor, or obligated already about 50% of their budgets. For the Judiciary Development Fund, Your Honors, just for your information, the collections and disbursements, the average is about 1 to 1.2 million, Your Honors. And with respect to the disbursements, basically all the collections for the Judiciary Development Fund are being disbursed as well, Your Honor. Then with respect to the special allowance for the Judiciary, Your Honors, where a portion of our share with respect to the SADS is concerned is also being sourced, Your Honors. The average again is about 1.1 to 1.3, 1.3 to 1. Your Honors, but currently we're receiving less, perhaps because of the lesser number of cases that are being filed. I think that is all, Your Honors, for the Judiciary. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much for a comprehensive presentation, Court Administrator Justice Raul Villanueva. Salamat po, sir. We'd like to acknowledge our colleagues who are physically present. As mentioned earlier, Senator Robin Padilla, the chair of the Senate Committee on Constitutional Amendments, was the first present earlier. Morning, sir. Our chair of the Committee on Energy, Senator Rafi Tulfo, is also present. Morning, sir.
Morning, Chairman.
Yeah. And our chair of the Committees on Tourism and Accounts is also present, Senator Nancy Binay. Morning, ma'am. And of course, on the part of the Sandigan Bayan, we also have with us physically present Associate Justice Carl Miranda. Morning, Justice. Morning, sir. And from the Court of Appeals, virtually present are Justice Edwin Sorongon and Clerk of Court Attorney Amita Hamerlan-Ray. Good morning, Your Honors. So I'd like to, any other presentations aside from that? That was quite comprehensive on the part of we'll now turn it over to any of our colleagues who may wish, and with the permission of our colleagues, because the last two meetings we followed the tradition of asking the officers and then the vice chairs, but the peculiarity of the Committee on Finances, we have so many vice chairs, 14, kaya minsan yung maaga hindi nakakapagtanong. So with your permission, I'd like to that a little and allow the earliest to arrive a chance to make a statement or ask questions. With your permission, Your Honors. So, sino ba nauna? Ikaw, Sir Robin? So I'll ask our colleague from Camarines Norte if he wishes to make any statement or ask any questions, Your Honor, Senator Robin Padilla po.
Maraming salamat po, mahal na tagapangulo. Hindi na po ako magpapaligoy-ligoy pa. Dediretsahin ko na po kagad. Magandang umaga po sa ating pong mga kagalang-galang na bisita galing po sa ating judiciary. Isa pong karangalan ko ang makasama ko po kayo ngayong umagang ito. Ang mga tanong ko lamang po ay una, sa amin po kasi, sa amin pong komite ng revision at amenda ng batas. Naitanong ko po sa isa naming resource speaker. Ito po ay si Attorney Estelito Mendoza. Siya po ay isang veterano ng abogado. Kanya pong binigay na suggestion. Ang sabi po niya, dati po kasi, noong 1935 Constitution, ang mga justices po ay dumadaan sa commission and appointments. Pero nabago po ito noong 1973 Constitution hanggang sa inadapt na po siya ng 1987. Ngayon po ay presidente na ang nag-a-appoint tapos dumadaan po sa JBC. Ang tanong ko po sa inyo, ano po ang inyong komento tungkol dito? Dahil ang gusto po niya ay balik sa 1935 Constitution na pagka-appoint po ng presidente ay dadaan muna sa commission appointments na parang nangyayari po sa mga secretary. Ano po ang inyo pong opinion po dito?
Yes, anybody can answer from our distinguished panel of guests. Anybody who wishes to answer, Your Honors.
Yes, Your Honor. May just with the permission of Justices Garland and Marquez, Your Honors, may I just say that in response to that, Your Honors, first is that, of course, we're guided by what is provided in the Constitution, Your Honors. The Constitution requires that any appointment to the judiciary will have to pass through the Judicial and Bar Council. The Judicial and Bar Council is actually represented not only by those coming from the judiciary, but also from different sectors, Your Honors, which includes as well not only the executive, but also the legislative branch. That's why these are considered ex officio members, Your Honors. And as far as we're concerned, Your Honors, that would require an amendment to the Constitution. And if it will be amended, Your Honors, then because the judiciary actually just interprets the law, Your Honor, based on what is provided in the Constitution, then definitely, Your Honor, we will follow if that is what will be provided by law or by the Constitution, Your Honors. Thank you.
Salamat po. Gusto ko pong malaman, kasi sa akin po bumagsak yan. Sabi niya kasi, parang nagiging political po. Ito po ba yun? Ito po ba nagiging masyadong pabor sa Pangulo ng Pilipinas? Katulad daw po nung nangyari sa panahon ng aking chairman po ng PDP Laban na si Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte, na parang nakasabi nga po na dito blink of an eye, pikit, isang pikit mata lang, naging justice na.
Masasabi ko lang po, hindi po talaga nawawala yung politika dun sa appointments, siguro kahit saan po. Lalo na siguro sa, ano, ang masasabi ko lang po ganito po, kahit nung unang panahon na nabanggit po ninyo, may politika po doon eh. Kasi yung presidente mag-a-appoint, tapos dadaan po sa commission on appointments.
Nako, ibig sabihin pumupolitika kami.
No, pa, hindi pa. Ang inisip ko, ang sinasabi ko lang po, pagdating dun sa JBC, kasi ang nangyayari po doon, bago naman po isubmit yung shortlist, inaaral po yung mga qualifications ng mga aplikante ng JBC. Dating po doon sa sa Office of the President, ang political act na rin po uli yun. Kasi it's the President now, considering the power vested in him, will make the appointment po. Yun ang ibig kong sabihin.
Sa inyo pong experience, Sir Raul, ano po ba sa palagay nyo? Honest to goodness lang po ba? Para hindi din po kami maligaw sa aming committee. Kasi alam naman po natin na napaka na po ni Attorney Istulito Mendoza. Kumbaga, legend na po siya sa larangan ng batas. So ang kanya pong sinasabi ay parang kayamanan na rin. Sa inyo po bang palagay, kailangan na po ba nating amendahan ng batas?
Una po, malaki po ang respeto po namin kay Attorney Estulito Mendoza. In fact, kaya siguro pinag-uusapan po yan dahil po sa kanyang suggestion. No? Ang sa amin lang po, pasensya na po kayo. Kung talagang kung maaari lang po, hindi po kami pwede magbigay ng direct na opinion kasi it might involve some future na judicial na review, just in case lang, if ever.
So, kung ano po ang sasabihin ng halimbawa, magkaroon ng amenda, okay po kayo?
Tanggapin po namin. Kaya in-amend po ang Constitution. Yan po ang sigurado po. Lima po kami sa anumang magiging direksyon ayon sa Constitution po.
Sa tingin po ba ng ating mga mahal na justice, hindi po ba ako malalagay sa alanganin dyan? Baka ako naman ang ma-shoot dyan uli.
If siguro may I ask that our justices be recognized, Your Honors, para
Mahal na Senador, would Justice Maidas or Justice Sami care to? Justice Maidas, yeah, please.
Ay, maraming salamat po at magandang umaga po sa ating mga senador. Dun po sa tanong ni Senator Robin Hood Padilla, ang masasabi ko lang po, unang-una, yun pong proseso na dumadaan sa Commission on Appointments, ang mga huwes at judges and justices. Ito nga po ay ang proseso noong under the 1935 Constitution. Yung pong nag-revise ng Constitution during the 86 Constitutional Commission, nakita po nila kung ano po yung mga pros and cons ng pagdaan sa Commission on Appointments. Kaya minabuti po nila nung panahon na yon na magkaroon ng Judicial and Bar Council or yung JBC. Nabanggit niyo po yung inyong chair ng PDP nung nakarang administrasyon. Kung hindi po ako nagkakamali, pagkapo po ni President Duterte, nagtatag po siya ng isang constitutional revision committee, At ito po ay pinangungunahan ng dating punong maestrado, na si Reynato Puno. Diyan po sa usaping yan, kung hindi po ako nagkakamali, meron po siyang rekomendasyon. Hindi po niya binabalik sa Commission on Appointments, pero nalawak po niya ang JBC. Kasi ngayon po, ang present membership ng JBC, there are only 7 members. Ito, para talagang maging independent, from the President himself, pinalawak to I think 15 or 20 members. And meron pong mga guidelines kung paano boboto yung mga miyembro ng JBC. So siguro po, kung talagang gusto po nating tingnan yung proseso, baka pwedeng pag-aralan din yung mungkahi po niya.
I clarify, Your Honor, yun ba ay proposal if the Constitution were be amended that to expand the Constitution?
Yes, Your Honor.
I see.
Opo.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So siguro po baka pwede rin pong pag-aralan din no po yung proposal ni Chief Justice po.
Papayag po kayo, Justice, na silipin po namin yung ginawa ng CONCOM din po yun eh. Gumawa po ng CONCOM ang PDP laban.
Sir, by all means po, basta po makakabuti sa ating bansa. Wala akong problema yan.
Maraming salamat po. So, acquitted ako doon. Okay. Isa na lang pong tanong. Pwede po ba, Chairman? Isa na lang po.
You have your time ho, Your Honor.
Kasi po, mahal na tagapangulo, sinasabi din po sa ligang batas natin, malinaw po sa Article 14, Section 7, sabi doon, instruction at communication dapat ay Filipino, English. Sa akin pong maikling tira sa bilibid, ako po ay 3.5 taon din po doon, ano? Ako po yung nakapagtayo ng opisina doon na tumutulong po sa mga bilanggo para po sila ay maintindihan nila kung ano po yung nagdaanan nilang kaso. Kasi hindi naman po lingid sa ating kaalaman na lahat po ng communication na galing sa court, English. At hindi po naiintindihan po nung ating mga sorry po, hindi naman po ako nagdi-discriminate, pero halos 80% ating pong mga nakakulong, hindi po nila naiintindihan talaga kung paano po sila hiniring, kung paano po sila nasintensyahan, paano sila makakalabas. Yun naman po, issue naman po namin yung bukas sa DOJ. Pero ngayon lang po sana, hindi po ba pwede na magkaroon din po ng Pilipino na desisyon o yung proseso ng kanilang hearing?
Unang-una po, ang ating pong mga feelings na tinatawag sa korte, pwede ho ang Tagalog. Kaya ho tayo may interpreter. That is allowed po. Pagka yung pong akusado, gusto ho niya magsalita ng Tagalog or any dialect for that matter, po yun. Kaya lang nire-record lang nga po, gaya na napunto po ninyo in English.
At saka minsan po, sir, nahihiya yung bilanggo. Alam naman po natin, siyempre, hindi din po siya makapagsalita ba. Yan po ang experience ko po talaga eh. Talagang tinatanong mo na sila, ayaw pong magsalita.
Opo. Kaya siguro yung mungkahi po ninyo, ang Supreme Court ay may tinatawag na strategic plan for innovation and for judicial strategic plan for 5 years, 2022 to judicial innovation. One of those na they're focusing on is access, Your Honor. So that is something that can be considered as included in that particular program. Magkaroon ho ng hindi lang ho siguro during the proceedings na Tagalog o kaya any dialect, but looking into that possibility as well na kinakailangan yung lengguwahe na gagamitin ay maliban sa English po. That will have to be looked into, Your Honor, kasi pasensya na pa kayo. That will require some deliberations and reforms, talagang major reforms regarding the way we render decisions po.
Asahan po namin, Sir Villanueva, kasi nakakaawa po talaga yung mga bilanggo natin. Minsan, nakatingin na lang po talaga sa langit, humihingi ng milagro talaga eh. Pero nasa inyo pong mga kamay at pagtutulungan na rin po namin siguro dito na ma-implement po kung ano man bagay, kung ano man ang kailangan. Kasi talaga pong para na rin po nating sa kanila yun. Tulong. Opo. Salamat po.
Yes po. Umasa po kayo ang ating pong Korte Suprema na sa pangulo po ni Chief Justice Alexander Hesmudo at lahat po ng mga associate justices, nakikinig po sila. And in fact, that's the reason for the strategic plan because they want to really make sure na talagang yung access to justice among others is really extended to those who really need it, Your Honor.
Salamat po. Chairman, sige mo. Tapos na ba yung oras?
Hindi po.
Meron pa?
Meron.
Okay. Meron lang po ako dito, mahal na Pangulo. Noong po 2021, sabi po dito sa Rule of Law Index of the World Justice Project, ang mga delays o pagkaantala sa pagresolba ng mga kasong kriminal at tagal ng mga kasong sibil ang pinakamalaking balakid sa pagkamit ng civil and criminal justice sa bansa. Sa usapin ng civil justice, ang Pilipinas daw po ay may score na 0.45, rank na pang 101 sa 139 na mga bansa sa pagkakaroon ng efficient, accessible at affordable civil justice system. Sa usapin naman po ng criminal justice, mas mababang score po natin 0.31 at rank 120 sa 139 ang Pilipinas. Isa sa mga sinukat ng survey ay kung ang mga korte po ba natin ay nakakaresolba ng mga kasong sibil ng walang unreasonable delays. Isang dekada po ang nakaraan noong 2013. Ayon po sa datos ng dating National Statistical Coordination Board mula 2005 to 2010, our lower courts were continuously confronted with heavy volume of caseload with an annual average of 1,059,484 cases, equivalent to an average of 4,221 cases per working day. Dahil po dito, mababa din ang disposition rate ng mga lower courts sa mga nasabing taon. Ang tanong ko po ngayon, ayon po din sa akin mapagtanungan, kulang daw po ang tao? Totoo po ba yun? Kulang daw po ang, sa RTC daw po, lumalabas na clerk of court lang ang tumutulong sa judge. Totoo po ba yun?
Una po, sa plantilla po natin, yung plantilla positions po natin, ang mga trial courts po natin, first and second level, may clerks of court. Sa ITC po, lawyers po yun. Sa first level court, hindi po.
Sa MTC, sa MTC po, ibig niyo po hindi siya justice, hindi siya abogado.
Pero law graduate po. Yun ang po.
Pero paano po kaya doon sa RTC din? Pwede po bang abogado na rin yun para makatulong doon sa judge?
Pwede po. Pero actually, nire-review po namin yung plantilla position namin. Pero lahat po naman ng mga courts na sa ITC tsaka sa some of the first level courts po, yung Metropolitan Trial Courts at tsaka Municipal Trial Court in cities, meron po yung mga legal researchers na tumutulong din po
ng justice.
Yes po, na mga desisyon niya, mga orders.
Ng judgment.
Yes po.
Bakit po kaya merong pagkaantala? Kasi alam niyo naman po, no, pagka bumilis kasi, ang jail po natin at ang bilibid po ay sumasabog na po sa dami ng nakakulong.
Yeah.
Opo. Sensya na po kayo. Ako lang po ay yung kanilang spokesman dahil ako po ay galing din sa loob at nakita ko po na ang magiging number one solution po talaga para ma-decongest natin yung kulungan. Lalo na po sa mga drug cases na halos 90% ng mga nakakulong sa jail drug cases, mahirap po talaga yung kaso po nila. Ang tanong ko po yan sa lower court, tinanong ko sila, ano ba ang problema? Sabi po nila, wala daw nakakatulong yung judge kasi yung clerk of court, sa kanya daw po lahat. Sa lahat ang tumutulong doon sa, baka pwede pong madagdagan ba? Pwede po bang madagdagan ng, kumbaga, magkaroon ng assistant clerk of court, ganun.
Actually, ang proposal po namin, unang-una po, ang proposal po namin sa review ng ating plantilla position sa lower courts, dag ng legal researcher, no, na law graduate din po yun. Pangalawa po, meron po tayong tinatawag na court decongestion officers. Yung mga heavily burdened na mga courts, yung mga malalaki po yung kanilang caseload, yung kanilang case inventory, binibigyan po natin sila makatulong din po makadispose. Gusto ko lang pong banggitin na yung nabanggit po niyo ng mga figures, ng mga 1 million po ang total caseloads po natin, medyo malayo na po yan sa actual. Kasi mabilis naman po ang disposition rate po natin na nabanggit ko kanina. In fact, sa ITCs po, kasama ng family courts, about 550,000 nationwide na po yung caseload natin. 150,000. Sa first level, and we have about 1,200 na ITCs and family courts. So that's an average of about less than 500. Sa ITC, sa first level court po, 189,000 lang po ang caseload. Kumbaga sa ano, and if you add it up, it's about 730 lang po thousand. So
Asa na po ng
malaki 250,000.
Senator Rocky, on the same topic, Your Honor, hindi ba kaya natin pinasa yung reason rin na pinasa natin yung justices at large? So, yes, para makatulong din po sa pagbawas ng caseload. Nakatulong po ba yun?
Yes po, na malaking tulong po yun kasi siyempre pag kami mga bakante, hindi naman po kagad mapilapan yan kasi dumadaan sa proseso. Pero dahil may judges at large po tayo, nakakapaglagay po tayo ng mga judges doon sa mga areas, lalo na kung malaki po yung caseload ng mga judges na who are permanently assigned there in the meantime. Na there is no permanent judge, no? So at saka higit na lahat po yung reforms na ginagawa po ng Supreme Court, decongest jails, marami po tayong ginagawa diyan. Ini-implement po natin yung recognizance na pagka nakakulong po siya, equivalent to the minimum imposable penalty. For example, kung ang imposable penalty is 6 months and 1 day to 1 year, for example, pag nakakulong na po siya ng preventively detained by 7 months, hindi na po siyang pakawalan muna in the meantime. Meron din po yung nasa rin po even during the pandemic, Your Honor, na yung bail, na amount that will be posted as bail. Kahit na hindi na humingi ng reduction of bail, meron na po kaming computation to reduce it. Na ginagamit po na formula.
Automatic rin.
Yes po. And then of course, through the help of Congress, yung pong tinatawag po natin na expansion ng jurisdiction ng first level courts. Malaking bagay po yun kasi naging 2 million na po sa civil cases. So dumadaan na sa small claims na tinatawag po namin. Yung ibang procedures, ang sinisingil ay not more than 1 million, Your Honors.
I think si Senator Jinggoy wanted to make a point kanina. Senator Jinggoy? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. With regard to the commission appointments and JBC as mentioned by Senator Padilla, do you think it would be a more tedious and long process if we subject all justices, all judges, including the prosecutors, to the commission on appointments? Kasi sabi po nila ni Senator Padilla, merong konting politika na nangyayari. If you subject all these justices, judges, sino ba magde-decide sa CA? Di ba mga politiko rin?
Puros politiko na.
Lahat politiko. We have 12 senators, 12 congressmen. Kanya-kanyang bargaining yan.
Well, kaya nga ho yata yun ang naging wisdom ho nung 1987 or 86.
73 boss. 73 chairman. Nung
73 binago.
73 binago. Nung actually 71.
Ginaya nung 86.
73 pa. Tapos ginaya nung 86.
86, oo. Kasi original, yung sinasabi ninyo po, na sinasabi ni Titong Mendoza is yung US model o yun.
1935.
US sinusundan pa ko kasi yun di ba? Kaya matubo yung confirmation nung yes po. They confirmed the first black justice. It took so many months. So, yeah, dun po si Senator Tolentino. Kaya ho siguro tumagal dahil baka nag-submit pa ho ng comment si Senator Francis. Kaya nahirapan ho yung mga, sa galing hulong komento niya, nahirapan ho yung mga, yes po.
Follow up lang po.
Please, you have the floor again, sir. You have the floor again. Thank you. With your permission, Senator Nancy, with your permission, Senator Robin. Senator Nancy.
Lang dun sa
Yes.
line of questioning ni Senator Robin Hood. May datos ho ba kayo kung ilan ho ba talaga yung nakakulong ngayon na nag-iintay ang trial nila?
Well, yung data ho namin, yung siyempre yung mga number of detainees, yung stages ng mga cases, doon din po kami doon. Meron yung
Ilan ho yung number of detainees natin ngayon?
I think base doon sa it's about 300,000 if I'm not mistaken. Although inano namin sa BGMP lang po yan.
Yung problema, I think one of the problems there, Senator Nancy, is yung single carpeta, hindi pa natatapos or yung single carpeta. Kaya talagang hindi klaro yung datos po ng mga detention prisoners. Hindi talaga, yung record, hindi pa.
We have a number. I can give it to you, Your Honors. Kasi kaya ko lang hindi masyadong Your Honor, if I may. Kasi meron din sa provincial jails eh.
Yun.
So meron BGMP, meron din provincial jails. So, siyempre, i-reassess na talaga wala yung provincial jails.
Yes po, depende po sa
Mr. Chairman, siguro whatever data that you have, can you just please submit to
Yes po.
the committee? Tapos meron din ho ba kayong data? Kasi di ba marami din ho dyan na time served na, pero since may equivalent amount na kailangan nilang bayaran dun sa naagrabyado nila, but they cannot pay, meron din ho ba kayong data kung ilan yung mga ganong tao na nakakulong na pwede na talaga, but because they cannot raise the funds, hindi ho sila makalabas?
Ganito po yung ano, naglabas po kami ng OCA circular saying that pagka yung sentence of imprisonment has already been served, Your Honor, release na po yan. Kasi kung may issue regarding yung civil liability, that can be the subject of a writ of execution. So, sinisiguro po namin na naintindihan din po namin yung concerns regarding that one. Labas na ho ng OCA circular. So, hopefully, mabawasan na po yung ganon na nabanggit po ninyo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kasi if you remember it, Mr. Chairman, dati nagkaroon tayo ng fundraising ng painting exhibit dito para nga to raise dun sa civil liability ng mga nakakulong. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Salamat for that, Senator Binay. I think the minority leaders, I would like to acknowledge the virtual presence of our minority leader, Senator Coco Pimentel, of course, one of the legal luminaries of the chamber. I think the only remaining part of that with the contribution of Senator Frank. Minority Leader Coco, sir, yes, any questions or statements from you, sir?
Sorry to be raising this, pero baka kasi ma-rules of court kami sa future na. Senator Padilla mentioned a name as chairman of the PDP Laban, and that is not correct as far as this representation is concerned, because I am the chairman of the PDP Laban, the original PDP Laban party. Kasi we're talking to the Supreme Court justices, baka umabot itong issue na to sa Supreme Court para lang po alam nila na ang chairman po ng PDP Laban is this representation as far as my original party is concerned. So just for the information, kasi meron yatang, di ba mayroong provision sa rules of court that if something is stated in your presence and you do not react to it, it can be or it might be taken against you. Kaya
It's admission by silence.
for the record lang ito, Mr. Chairman. At last na po ako magtatanong tungkol sa budget po. Opo, kasi maraming present na nauna sa akin, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, yes, sir. As you thank you for that, Minority Leader Senator Coco. Yeah, go back the floor. We turn the floor to
Salamat po, Chairman. Ako po humihingi ng paumanhin sa atin pong minority leader. Kakampi ko po yan sa Committee on Amendments and Revision. Gusto ko lang pong paalam din po sa ating minority. Pasensya na po kasi ang alam ko po na desisyon na ng Supreme Court na ang PDP Laban pasensya na po kayo. Wala po akong intensyon na makasagasa o ako po ay sumusunod lamang. Pasensya na po, minority leader. Pasensya na po. Yung tanong ko po, sundan ko na.
Mr. Chairman,
yes, Senator Coco, yes.
Ano lang po, okay lang po kay Senator Padilla, wala naman pong masama doon. Except that hindi pa po umabot ito sa Supreme Court, kaya posibleng umabot po itong ating issue sa Supreme Court. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, back to you, Senator Robin.
Nako, baka madali pa ako sa desisyon ng Supreme Court dito. Mga tanong ko Isa na lang po itong tanong ko lang. Kasi po, meron po, nung nag-interview po kasi ako sa mga RTC, sabi po nila sa akin, tinanong ko po kasi sila, bakit po ba parang ang dami pa ring kaso na hindi po na didinig? Sabi nila, banggit nyo rin po kanina, meron pong unfilled ng mga judges. Bakit po kaya unfilled? Ano po kaya ang nangyayari? Ba't po hindi nabibigyan ng tamang atensyon nito?
Actually, may mga bakante po, ang Office of the Court Administrator, siya po nagre-recommend to the JBC or submits the list of vacancies to the JBC for them to process, Your Honor. So,
Dali po kay Presidente. Di ba parang ganun yan? Yung JPC gagawa ng
lista po. Opo.
tapos papadala sa...
Yes po. Sa Office of the President.
Dapat kailangan 3 months lang.
Yes,
Pero 3 months, kailangan makapagbigay sila ng
or even lesser, Your Honor. Even
Opo.
lesser.
ginagawa po ba ng Malacanang.
Hindi ko po masasagot po yun.
Kasi doon po sa tinanong ko, huli daw po umabot ng 9 months.
I'm in a position to say that. Other than siguro, yun na nga.
Meron po kayong meron po kayo siguro dapat na liaison officer ba tawag doon?
Meron
Na
naman po.
nagpa-follow up sa Malacanang para sa kanilang mga appointments ng judge.
Ang nagpa-follow up na po dyan ay yung JBC mismo. Kasi yung listahan galing po sa kanila.
Po, kasi alam naman po natin, sabi nga nila, ano ba sa English yun? Justice delayed. Ano ba yun? Parang wala na rin justisya nun. Oo, kasi pasensya na po kayo. Dati akong akusado. Medyo ako sensitive. Oo.
Pero ina-assure ko po kayo, Your Honor, lahat ng bakante basta nag-occur kasi either na-promote o kaya nag-retire, kuminsan nag-resign o kaya na-dismiss. There's lahat po yan, pinararating po namin sa Judicial and Bar Council. Ang utos po sa amin, siyempre po is to fill all the vacancies kasi kailangan naman po. Ang ano lang ho namin dumadaan lang sa proseso po yan. For example, iano ko lang po sa inyo, ang pinaprocess po ngayon ng JBC ay Regions 3, 4, and 5. A total of 143 vacancies. Yan sa within that region. In those vacancies po, based on the information that I got, alam niyo po kung ilan ang applicants, 800 po. So yung 800 na po na yan, po yan, ini-interview po ng JBC po yan, ng regular members, isa-isa po. So it takes a while. But the point is, wala naman po they're doing everything and maganda naman po ang performance ng ating JBC na ayos po nila lahat yan.
Opo, siguro lang din po natin, inform din po natin ng Office of the President kasi talagang malinaw po yun
Opo, totoo po yan. Opo.
Justice delayed is justice denied. Malinaw po yun. Kawawa din po yung mga naka-piit.
Yes po.
Kasi alam naman po natin na minsan kakulangan din ng pera, koneksyon, po. Kaya yun lamang po, kasi mahal na Pangulo, 3 months Ang sinasabi ng batas, 3 months Dapat may appointed na mga bagong judge. Ang sinasabi din nila, mahal na taga-Pangulo, meron naman daw acting judge. Problema, meron din naman kaso yung judge na yun na hinahawakan. So, yun lamang po. Maraming salamat po, mahal na taga-Pangulo.
Thank you very much. Salamat, Senator Robin, sa napakagandang mga puntos na based on your experience, base sa karanasan at salamat sa iyong pagmamalasakit sa ating mga kababayan na nasa kulungan. Thank you, sir. So, Senator Go will not ask questions and will support the budget. President Pro Temp Legarda will also not ask any supportive judiciary budget and any increases. And next to ask, based on attendance, is our no less than our chair of the Committee on Justice, Senator Francis Tolentino, sir.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, huwag mo naman sir. Itatanong ako.
Okay,
Again,
si CR sana, pero go ahead.
With your indulgence, again, my imagination was triggered by the comments relative to the membership of JBC.
Opo.
If my memory serves me right, is there really a constitutional provision mandating the 0.5 apportionment for both chambers?
I think ang provision niya is 1 seat for Congress. Yun ang problema, di ba? Hindi sinabing 1 seat for the Senate, 1 seat for the House. Meron yung naging interpretation dyan
Because of the decision in Chavez versus JBC, the decision was Congress can only send one representative to the JBC. And the decision to make it 0.5 or parang 6 months is with Congress na po. Congress na po ata nag-decide na 6 months po. Because of the decision in Chavez versus JBC, Your Honor.
The reason why I raised that is because perhaps the attendance can be more responsive if members of Congress can represent the JBC.
That was the practice before, if I'm not mistaken, no?
1987.
Yes, and before that case was
That
decided.
was the practice before, Your Honor, before the Supreme Court came up with that decision in Chavez versus JBC.
Baka magugulo yung mga taga-Kongreso, kaya sabi nila, hati na lang kayo kasi magugulo kayo. Joke lang po yun.
Opo, hindi sa amin po yung because until yun ang practice po yung nabanggit po ninyo, dalawa po talaga nag-attend. Sabay po yun. Tapos ang boto, nagiging 8 ang total, even. It's not 7.
So-
Kasi 1 vote each sila.
I see.
But after, nung nag-file si Chavez po, Attorney Frank Chavez, nabago po yun. Na-decide na ng Supreme Court, interpreting the provisions of the the Constitution, that was in, kasi that was the time of I think 2012 ata. Kasi that was during the time that the next CJ was being
The
considered.
reason why I raised that, Mr. Chairman, because it appears constitutionally counterintuitive. If the members of the Commission on Appointment would confirm the Secretary of Justice as a full-time and even Vice Chairman of the Commission on Appointments, and one other member of the JBC is about to be confirmed, when the end result would be the persons who are confirming will just be allotted to one seat, and they will be confirming prospective members of the JBC who will be given individual seats and one voting right each. Isn't that perhaps contrary to whoever framed that provision in the Constitution is?
Justice Baidas, please, sir.
Ang nangyari po yata doon, Senator Tolentino, is when they were drafting the 87 Constitution, yung unang akala nila magiging
Right, yeah.
kasi nabila one representative from Congress lang. And then, last minute, nagbotohan, nanalo yung BICAM. So, nung nireview nila yung draft, meron mga certain provisions nakalimutan gawing
Kasama yung voting, di ba? May mga
kasama
voting
yung
provisions doon.
JBC.
Pero we'll have to look at the
Yeah, yun ang trabaho na ni Chairman ng Constitutional Amendments na yung nakaligtad noong 1987 baka pwedeng
Thank you.
aklaruhin, ho. Okay.
Namadali kasi, namadali. Aminado naman sila, Chairman, na nagkaroon ng madalian doon. Pati sa Judiciary din eh. Isang boto lang din ng ano po doon.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can now proceed to my...
Yes, please, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
you can now proceed to the restroom.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Just one aspect concerning a press release coming from the Supreme Court, apparently from the Chief Justice, that he is now approving a technology-driven court that would allow all court proceedings to proceed through video conferencing even after COVID-19. But looking at your budget, we fail to see any. This is still fresh in our memories because we're still investigating that laptop deal. We fail to see any budget for acquisition of gadgets that would involve teleconferencing. So how would you be able to implement the directive of the Chief Justice himself relative to this?
There is a budget, Your Honor, insofar as IT equipments are concerned. And then second, usually the video conferencing is an application-based kind of setup. So what we intend to, of course, fund would be the procurement of video conferencing equipment. But since we are already providing some computers on a yearly basis, Your Honor. So that's also already included. Yes po, Your Honor.
The budget,
Yes po, Your Honor.
but you have to consider the current state of Philippine Wi-Fi connectivity. We're 104 tayo out of 160 countries. We only have 2.8 Mbps. South Korea has 23.6, number one. Singapore has 12.9 Mbps. So paano 'yon? Paano sa probinsya? How would they comply with this directive?
Actually, we're looking into a provider, Your Honor, although hindi pa parang developmental stage pa lang po, that will provide internet and Wi-Fi connection even at the most remote areas in the country. There is a technology that uses both fiber optics and at the same time satellite, Your Honor, and which is something that we are looking into in connection with the strategic plan, Your Honor, of the Supreme Court. We have an IT-driven court, Your Honor. So that is also one thing that has been
That's all-
taken into consideration, Your Honor.
That's also part of the budget.
Yes, Your Honor, insofar as having an IT-driven court is concerned, Your Honor. And if I may say so, Justice Maidas is very much familiar as well with that kind of suit, no, insofar as the judiciary's IT projects are concerned.
Yes, sir. Just to add to what the court administrator has stated, in the past few months, we have been actually talking to the different providers, no? And some of them have actually committed to put satellites in far-flung areas. And in fact, meron na pong schedule na within the year, nagawa nila yon, and then after some testing, and it's really very efficient, we will be going to those far-flung areas, no, to launch those satellite connections.
Thank you, Your Honor. But suggestion ni Senator Jinggoy kanina, he mentioned something about splitting of contracts. So perhaps administratively, you should take notice, judicial notice, administrative notice of what's going on within the Blue Ribbon confines, because we are about to blacklist some of the IT providers who were involved in some quote-unquote blank. So you should be aware of that, Your Honors.
Yes, Your Honor.
My next question is about the bar exams. I remember correctly that I was one of those who proposed an online bar exam during a lockdown finance committee meeting sometime in 2019 or 2020, if I'm not mistaken. So it was successful. It was implemented correctly. 72.28 passing rate. Ang taas. Ang taas ngayon. And then only 2 days. 2 days na lang exams. Dati, 4 yan. So are we still going to maintain it? And is it part of the budget for 2020?
Your Honor, the chairperson of the 2022 bar exams is Justice Benjamin Kagiwa, Your Honor. And based on the bulletins that he has been issuing, the bar for this year will continue to be digitalized and regionalized, Your Honor. So this coming November. So and the 4 days consisting of 4 days, Your Honor. So not more, not 2 anymore, but 4 days, Your Honors. So it's the coverage is wider as compared perhaps to the previous bar exams because of the situation is different now. So and of course the proposal for the budget for the same was included in our proposal, Your Honor.
So I assume there is a software app being used that
Your Honor.
would not necessitate the presence of a proctor, or a proctor is needed inside the room.
There is still well through electronic means, so to speak, Your Honors, because we're using CCTV, Your Honor, using an application for that purpose, Your Honor. And then of course there are proctors. There are those who are serving, who will be on duty for the 4 days, Your Honors, to serve as proctors, Your Honor.
And there are cameras within the laptop
Yes, Your
and monitored unusual movements.
Yes, Your Honor. During the there are 14 local bar sites, Your Honor. So all of this will be equipped with those.
Congratulations. So
Aside from proctors.
this is now institutionalized
Yes, Your Honor.
and
Yes,
part
Your
of your
Honor.
budget.
Yes, Your Honor. And that's the reason why we're asking for an additional one next year, Your Honor, because this was not included, unfortunately.
Additional?
The amount for the bar next year, Your Honor, because for 2023, there is no amount allocated specifically for that one. But this year, there is, Your Honor,
By
for 2022.
By 2023, you're not yet inclined to have that face-to-face bar exams. Wala pa rin.
I don't. It will depend on the decision of the Supreme Court and Bank, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you. I remember during the last Congress, we approved a judicial martial bill. It's now a law, but I was looking over your budget for 2023. Parang wala naman nakalagay doon how it will be implemented. Is it going to be implemented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Partially, fully? Ano ba ang bibilin? Baril? Shotgun? Bulletproof?
Your Honor, please, definitely it will be implemented. The law is there, and we thank Congress for passing that law, creating the Judiciary Marshal's Office. There was an initial budget already of 50 million. We are now working on the implementing rules and regulations, Your Honor. Once we are able to come up with it, Your Honor, then the key officials will already be appointed, Your Honor, starting with the Chief Marshal, and then the deputies, Your Honors, and then down the line, Your Honors. And implementing rules and regulations will more or less help us identify these other officials and the personnel of the Judiciary Marshal, Your Honor, which we expect not later than the first quarter of next year, if not the later part of this year, Your Honor. It will be, we will be able to determine who will man the key positions, Your Honor.
So the 50 million would be sufficient for 2023 initially. But I'm always looking at news reports. Apparently, our judges are safe. Wala namang nababalitaan pa ngayon. Is there a new one? Who's
Justices po, Your Honors, Supreme Court.
in terms of violent deaths coming from physical threats, meron ngayon ba?
Meron pa rin naman po, Your Honors. There are judges that have to be assigned from their station to different region, Your Honor, because of the threats that they are receiving. So we still have those kinds of situations, Your Honor. Sa mga justices, I'm not completely aware if there are any, but hopefully there is none.
Not talking here of domestic violence. Yung,
With more reason that we have no information, Your Honor.
so 50 million is sufficient. Finally,
Thank you, Your Honor.
finally, last week, and I'm speaking in behalf of Senator Lito Lapid, after 12 years, and I delivered the privilege speech on this last year, ang daming batas na ginagawa ang Senado, ang Kongreso, hindi na-implement. But last week lang po, Republic Act, madaling matandaan po ang number nito, Republic Act 9999, 49. Na-approve na po ito, yung implementing rules after 12 years. And it has something to do with free legal education. So, I would like to inform this committee and the members of the Judiciary present that this lapid law, gusto ni Pinuno, lapid law daw ang tawag, ma-implement na ng gusto. Alam niyo po ba ito? Or is just, this is
I think that law, yes, Your Honor. I think that law actually provides some tax incentives, Your Honor, those who may be rendering free legal aid, Your Honor. Actually, sa amin, on the part of the Judiciary, Your Honor, we're just, or more than just willing to observe that. Kasi legal aid means they will appear before our courts, Your Honor, providing service to indigents, no, mostly. So, more on the IDP rin yan, Your Honors, because it pertains to those appearing before our courts. Your Honors, because there are tax incentives being involved.
Again, I quote the Chief Justice, there is going to be a national summit on legal aid and a national summit on clinical legal aid education to be sponsored by the Supreme Court. So siguro, pagtahi-tahiin nyo na yan. Mr. Chairman, kaya
Yes, Your Honor.
sinasabi to because I established the Philippine Justice Legal Center. I'm also doing this. I had just a road show in the North, La Union, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So papasok na dun sa additional question ko. Whatever happened to that Justice on Wheels program before?
The Justice on Wheels program, Your Honor, is still there. It's part of the work that is being done to provide access to justice, no, insofar as those marginalized sometimes or need, Your Honors, of immediate judicial action. The only thing that is happening right now, Your Honor, is because of what happened, because of the pandemic, Your Honors. We cannot around, Your Honor, in the meantime, but it has been enhanced, in fact, because the committee, because there's a permanent committee that is handling the Enhanced Justice on Wheels program. It also involved those underserved, Your Honor. So that is now the coverage of the Enhanced Justice on Wheels program.
But I'm looking at your 2021 Judiciary Annual Report. Wala po si Justice on Wheels.
Kasi po yung because of the limitations, travel restrictions, Your Honors. But now, there are plans already to be carried out, the Justice on Wheels programs, Your Honor.
So Justice on Wheels would be contrary to the pronouncement of the Chief Justice that you'll be going virtual.
Hindi naman po. It's complementary, I would suppose, Your Honor, because, the reason why we would want to reach out, Your Honor, and then, of course, encourage our judges to contribute, no, insofar as serving justice to those who are in need, no, in the areas that we are going, Your Honor, is precisely that, Your Honor. Aside from doing it virtually, Your Honor, we would want to also do it in person, Your Honor.
Chairman, siguro isang question na lang ako. I noticed the report concerning the Philippine Mediation Center and others relative to the ADR program. How far are we now? Considering that you just transferred the Mediation Center office from PhilJA to the to the Court Management Office. Anong reason nun?
Yes, Your Honor. First is, insofar as mediation and judicial dispute resolution is concerned, the Supreme Court adopted new guidelines with respect to these alternative modes of dispute resolution, Your Honor. So we're complying insofar as the need, no, to take out as many cases outside of the court system is concerned through settlement, Your Honor. Second, the transfer from the Philippine Judicial Academy to the Office of the Court Administrator, particularly to the Court Management Office regarding this PMCO, Your Honor, is for purposes of streamlining the work, because that's mediation is part of court proceedings, Your Honor, and it should not be part of the PhilJA, Philippine Judicial Academy, which is actually more concentrated on providing trainees, Your Honors. So that's a reason for the transfer, Your Honors, among others.
So training will be out of the hands of the Philippine Management Office?
No, the running of the office, Your Honor.
What about the training?
The training will still be with the Philippine Judicial Academy. With respect to, for example, our mediators who need to be accredited, Your Honors, it's still the judge that will do that, Your Honors.
The reason why I raised that, Mr. Chairman, is because last week, September 12, to be exact, I filed a bill, Senate Bill 1308, providing for an act providing for the International Commercial Arbitration Act of the Philippines. Dito tayo may butas eh. Sinasabi ko to kay Chairman. Parang dito tayo mahina. Hindi natin lagi lahat ng international arbitration talo tayo. Whether it be in Singapore or in Hong Kong. The last major victory we had, aside from the arbitral ruling concerning the West Philippine Sea, is the Sultanate of Sulu. But that's not Philippine lawyers. Those are Paris-based lawyers. Doon tayo may kulang. Is there a possibility of this being part of PhilJA or a prejudicature or another unit within the Supreme Court that would specialize in commercial arbitration? Because right now, we have none. We have none. All our accredited and supposed to be accredited arbitrators would line up in Singapore, would stay in Singapore, but home-based, homegrown arbitrators, commercially international arbitrators, we have none. This has never been part of the law school curriculum. This is not part of the bar exams. This is new. This is new. This was never taken during the last 20 or 30 years. But this is the way to go. All contracts to be entered into by the Department of Energy, by the DOTR, by other other big ticket items will involve an arbitration clause. And there are no Filipino lawyers qualified, sad to say, to stand up against arbitrators coming from Hong Kong or Paris or the European arbitrators. So that's the reason why I filed this. So what is now the accompanying step that can be taken by the Philippine Supreme Court relative to this?
Your Honor, first, insofar as the mandate of the Philippine Judicial Academy is concerned, so it focuses on those who are in the judiciary, primarily, Your Honor, so judges and lower court personnel. But with respect to topics like that, Your Honor, regarding arbitration, admittedly, it depends, no, if there is a request to conduct such kind of seminar or lecture, Your Honor, then hopefully it has to involve our judges or court personnel so that we can conduct it. Otherwise, perhaps it can be covered during the MCLE programs, which is also under the auspices of the Supreme Court through the MCLE office, Your Honor.
Sana po magawa natin yan. Mr. Chairman, wala na akong masyadong tanong. Marami pang magtatanong na iba. But I'm very supportive of the judiciary. And I hope post-pandemic, we focus not just on what the economy would bring, but even justice for even the ordinary Filipinos. And the judiciary should be at the forefront, the helm, and the frontliners here. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much to our committee,
Salamat po.
Committee Chair on Justice for your very salient points, and I share your concern. Yung arbitration talagang wave of the future yan so I think tayo maiwan. Thank you, sir. Next, Senator Marcos will no longer ask questions, also supportive of the budget. Next is our Chair of the Committee on National Defense, Senator Jinggoy. Sir. After that is Senator Clifford, Senator Binay, and Minority Leader from Mintel. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do not wish to ask questions since I still have a lot of pending cases before the Sandigan Bayan and before the Supreme Court. But anyway, only one question, Attorney Roll. Last year's bar exam, ang pumasa yata 72%.
Yes po, Your Honor. 8,241
Out
passed,
of
Your Honor.
11,402.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I think this is the highest.
In terms of number, Your Honor, yes, 8,200.
And percentage, sir.
In terms of
Your Honor.
percentage, the higher, kasi 72%, may mga olden times, during olden times higher, but lesser number of takers.
Why is this so, sir? I guess walang face-to-face.
Well, that's why it's dubbed as the best bar ever, Your Honor. Because I guess
The question's easy.
no, Your Honor. Of course not, Your Honor.
At yata nag-bargain kayo, Senator Jinggoy.
Sabi nga eh.
Nag-lock.
Your Honor,
Tapusin ko na lang, one sem na lang. So, maybe in the near future.
doon na-reduce po yung yung number of days, na-reduce yung coverage, and then of course sa tinignan yung mga answers based on how they address the problems through electronic.
Are you sure there's no cheating there?
Definitely not, none, Your Honor.
Well, rest assured that I am very supportive of the budget of the judiciary. Next time nila ako magtatanong pag tapos na lahat.
Salamat po, Your Honor.
Salamat po.
Thank you very much, Senator Jinggoy, for a very brief interpretation. Next is our Chair of the Committee on Energy and Migrant Workers, Senator Rafi Tulfo. Thanks, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, Your Honor, Chairman. Good morning. Before my questions, I have a statement to make, Your Honors. The judiciary is not just any department of the government. It is the third branch. It is part of the whole system of checks and balance offered by the democracy. And they have to listen to what they need because their fiscal autonomy is crucial to their independence. And only an independent judiciary could be a real judiciary that decides fairly in accordance with laws. The courts, together with the Department of Justice, is the guardian of the people when it comes to laws. I work here in the legislative, give more to the poor when it comes to our laws. Useless if the poor is not able to access the judiciary. And access to the judiciary means that it is available to them and it's efficient. Most of our less advantaged citizens do not resort to the judiciary because it is time-consuming and expensive. The poor do not have the luxury of pursuing cases. The judiciaries in the past years have been trying to modernize themselves to keep up with the times and to make their process efficient and less costly for litigants. We need to give importance on this and allow the judiciary to have its independence. Now, Mr. Chair, allow me to quote former President Ramon Magsaysay when he said, "He was less in life, should have more in law. Na ang ibig sabihin, ang mga dukha na walang-wala natin mga kababayan, sila po yung madalas na api at tatapak-tapakan ng kanilang karapatan. Ngayon, sa batas na lamang, korte sila po nakakakuha ng mas na pagtrato. Marami po akong karanasan kung saan nakikita ko po yung sorry state ng ating judiciary pagdating po sa mga korte. Because so many times, sumasama po ako sa mga nahirap nating kababayan na nakakusa. Balasan, 2 hanggang 3 judges, isang korte lamang. Kaya may kasabihan, justice denied, justice delayed. Kung minsan, punta ka po sa isang korte, marunong, nagkapatong-patong po yung mga files at parang matatakot kang pumasok, baka pasok na hindi ka nalalabas dahil mukhang tutuloy-tuloy kang sa kulungan dahil hindi po kaya-aya sa paningin. What I'm trying to say here is dapat po talagang madagdagan ang budget ng ating judiciary. It's about time na dapat ma-modernize ang ating judiciary. It's about time na dapat gawin natin pong digitalize ang ating judiciary. Nakakalungkot nga lang po, nung tinignan ko po itong personal services noong 2022. For 2023, excuse me. Humingi po yung judiciary para sa personal services ng 52 billion. Pero ang inaprobahan lang po ay 36 billion. May difference po ng 16 billion. Ano po ang basihan ng mga nag-aproba ng budget ng kanilang pagkakat sa budget ng judiciary? Ano pong karanasan meron sila para magdikta kung magkano ang budget na kailangan sa judiciary? Ano po ang kanilang makaalaman? Yan po isang katanungan ko lamang. Dahil marami na po ako nakakausap ng mga judges na sinasabi nila, nag-request po sila ng karagdagang manpower resources. Ano po naabot, pero hindi pa rin pinabibigay. Bakit? Kulang po sa budget. Gusto naman po ng judiciary system natin mapaayos ang sistema. Pero kulang po sa budget. Kulang po sa tao. Kulang po sa kagamitan. Ang tanong ko lang po, dito sa present ng mga resource persons natin, ito pong cut na 16 billion, ano po ang maging impact nito sa pagpapatakbo po ng mga korte dahil ito po ay para sa personal services. Ito nga po yung sinasabi ko, nakausap ko mga judges, kulang po talaga sila sa mga tao. Gusto naman nila po mapabilis yung pag-aksyon sa mga kaso, pagtalakay sa mga kaso sa korte. Kulang po sila ng mga tao. Kulang po sila sa kagamitan. So itong 16 billion po na nawala, ano pong impact nito sa inyo?
Well, ang masasabi ko po siguro initially is siyempre po yung mga kakulangan po sa personal services would result in one, yung mga siyempre tinitingnan po namin ng mga positions na sana maidagdag po, hindi po natin mai-implement po yun. Tapos yung mga benefits that are due to many of our court employees that hopefully would further motivate them, inspire them to work harder, Your Honor, will also have to be on hold in the meantime. Like for example, yung sa mga first level clerks of courts po natin, hindi po naisama po yung kaya sinasama po namin as part of our MR. And then respect to other positions that need funding, Your Honor, because there are some courts that have been organized, but unfortunately the funding remain to be not yet included, although it's part of some process that we know we need to observe. But this would mean that we cannot organize them in the meantime, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Yung pong napansin ko po na isang korte, 2 judges. So dito makikita po talaga ang kakulangan ng ating mga korte na para napabilis po yung dispensation of justice. So ang nangyari, nag-schedule hanggang sa napapatagal po yung paglilitis sa kaso. Yan po isang dahilan kanina nabanggit ni Senator Robin Padilla na tumatagal po yung kaso. Na yung po mga mayor nating kababayan na nakapito sa city jail, they're waiting for their cases to be heard. Nabibili nga po dahil nga po kulang sa structure, kulang po sa korte, kulang po sa judges, kulang po sa personnel. So, siguro po isa sa mga pagtunan po ng pansin ay yung pagpapatayo pa po ng mga korte. Kaya lang, napansin ko nga po ang SISTE, nag-request po kayo ng 74.1 billion kasama po dito sa modernization program ninyo. Ang napuban lang po ng DBM ay 52 billion.
Yes po.
Ano po naging justification ng DBM? Bakit po kinati na po yung inyong proposal? Hindi po nasunod ang inyong proposal. Yung justification po ng DBM binigay sa inyo?
Usually kasi parang there is a conference no regarding the proposed budget and the one that will be submitted to the Congress, Your Honor, which will form part of the NEP. But I think many of the reasons is that for one, yung budget space siguro na binabanggit po nila. Although we keep on saying that many of those that were cut includes also yung sinasabi po ninyo. Ang sitwasyon po kasi pag nakikreate po ng bagong courts, hindi po kasama yung construction ng ng budget for the construction of the courtroom itself. So hinihingi pa ho namin yon no for purposes of So pagka hindi ho na-provide po yon, kaya ho nagkakaroon po yung tinasabi po ninyong sitwasyon na may mga judges po tayo na sa isang korte, dalawa po sila. We have assigned them in the meantime as assisting judges kasi nga po while waiting for either we rent naman po, Your Honor, kung talagang hindi kaya mag-construct muna in the meantime or ask for the budget to construct it if there is already a property that we can construct our courts no, for the newly created positions, Your Honor.
Ngayon pa nga dyan po, mga korte sa Manila, na bulok po. Bulok na talaga, Mr. Chair. Minsan, nagsama po ako sa isang complainant, naglalagay pa po ng timba dahil tumutulo po sa bubong yung tubig ulan. Dito, nakikita natin yung sabi ko kanina, sorry state of our judiciary system. Yung pera na dapat sa judiciary na binibigay ng ating mga babata sa Congress, well, mga kasamahan ko naman sila. Imbis na intindihin po yung kalagayan. Siguro po it's about time, Mr. Chair. Siguro kailangan yung mga congressman natin, mga kaibigan natin dyan sa Congress, naging tayo sa Senate, pasyal po tayo sa mga korte. Tingnan po natin yung sitwasyon ng ating mga korte. Kasi po, madali lang po mag-cut ng budget na nai-request po tulad ng judiciary natin. Mabilis po mag-cut ang DBM because hindi po sila nakakapunta ng korte. It's about time siguro dalawin natin mga korte bago tayo mag-cut ng mga budget na pinapropose nila. Now, ito pong sinasabi ko, marami po talagang korte na bubulok-bulok. Kung ba magagawa ninyo ng paraan, sir?
Sa amin pong record, we have about 1,100 nationwide courts of justice. Out of that number, Your Honor, only about 380 is owned by the Supreme Court. The rest are actually by the LGU. There is a number that we list, no? So, binabayaran po ng Supreme Court po yun. So, ang gusto ko lang sabihin, unfortunately, when we ask for budget for all of the courts that we have under the Supreme Court, hindi ko lahat nabibigay on a yearly basis, Your Honor. So, we have to schedule all of this, Your Honors.
Nabanggit niyo po yung LGU na tumutulong para magkaroon po ng Course of Justice.
Yung bagay po sa amin.
Malaking bagay. Alam mo na po siguro yung implication yan. So since ang nagtatayo po ng mga korte ay yung LGU. So ibig sabihin yan, yung mga piskal natin, mga judges, vetted po doon sa mga taga-LGU. So therefore, hindi na po magiging fair kung minsan yung pag-ulitis ng kaso. That is the reason why ang dami ko po mga complainant na kapag mayor o councilor o vice mayor o governor ng kalaban, kulong na agad. Agad-agad sentensyado na agad. Mawawarat na agad. Because Yun lang korte yun, pag-aari po ng LGU. So it's about time, sabi ko nga po, para magkaroon po ng independence ang ating judiciary, kailangan po talaga magkaroon ng autonomy at magkaroon ng sapat na budget. Nang sa gayon, wala po kayong inaasahan at hindi po kayo embedded kung kanino man.
Yes, po, Your Honor. We submit that that is the most ideal situation, Your Honor.
So ano po yung nakikita ng solusyon para hindi na po mangyari yan na umaasa na lang po kayo sa mga LGU ng tulong assistance na makapagpapay ng korte. Gusto ko po sana dumating yung time na talagang totally independent na po kayo. Wala na po kayong pinagkakautangan na kahit sino mang departamento sa ating gobyerno.
Yes, I think one of the things na po, Your Honors, that we are asking is the recognition of the fiscal autonomy insofar as the judiciary is concerned. And when we say that, of course, nasa batas na naman po yan, may mga rulings naman ng Supreme Court, Benson versus Drilon, regarding what fiscal autonomy is all about. But more importantly, siyempre, ang tinitignan din namin pagdating sa fiscal autonomy, when we make a proposal of the budget for the judiciary, if it's okay, that we will just defend it before Congress. But what is happening is it passes through DBM. Of course, we respect the work that the DBM is doing, Your Honor, insofar as looking into our budget is concerned. But if full fiscal autonomy is given, then it will just be recorded by the DBM and then it will be brought directly to Congress for us to defend, Your Honor.
Okay, 2 questions na naman po, Mr. Chair. So, ang gusto ko rin po sana mangyari na maging digitalized na po yung mga korte natin. Sa ngayon po kasi, pag pupunta ka ng sa mga korte, makikita niyo po yung mga files, nagtambak-tambak lang niya sa tabi, nagkalat. So, kung minsan walang paglalagyan ng cabinet, kung minsan matitisod ka pa pag dito ko sa may bandang malakad dahil nagtambak ng mga folders. Baka pwede natin na-digitalize and of course, it requires budget. Unfortunately, yung mga taga-DBM mukhang hindi yata nakakaintindi, mukhang hindi yata nakakadalaw sa mga korte natin.
Your Honor, yung mga records, we have this disposal program na pagka yung case has already been decided with finality and subject only to execution. Pagka more than 5 years na siyang final and executory, dinidispose na po yung marami po nating mga records at nagre-retain na lang po ng certain records as part of our file, digitalize kumbaga digitalized na po, trying to scan them. And then pagka 20 years old and above na po yan, talaga wala na halos matitira except the decision itself, Your Honor. So while we're doing that, of course, there are some na yun nga po, ang problema ho namin, pagka in between those years o kaya pagka pending pa ho. Unfortunately, we cannot dispose records that are with respect to pending cases. Baka po yung mga pagka yun po yung nasa hallway, unfortunately, we cannot, all we require our judges is to speed up the disposition of these cases, which we have programs already in place, not only upon the instructions of the Supreme Court, but also carry out already previous guidelines issued by the Office of the Court Administrator.
Okay. Doon po sa kakulangan ng ating mga korte, kailan niyo po nakikita yung time na magkaroon po ng sapat ng korte, magkaroon po yung 1:1, 1 judge to 1 clerk. Hindi na po share na lang yung mga judges natin sa mga reason kung bakit nadidelay po yung dispensation of justice at ang apektado po rito kadalasan ang mga mahirap nating kababayan. Sir.
Ang ano po namin is siguro po talagang sama-sama po, tulong-tulong po dapat talaga ho yan kasi we're talking about construction. So kasi dumadaan po sa bidding po lahat yung mga design po, bago ho namin po may bid out yan, yung construction, kailangan po namin ng mga design to determine the estimated cost for each and every hall of justice. Ang tingin ko po, kung magkakaroon po ng talagang close coordination and of course following the directives coming from our Chief Justice and the NBank, the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court NBank, siguro we can start a major infrastructure program similar to what was done several years ago under the JUSIP na tinatawag po yung Justice Sector Infrastructure Project, Your Honor. That happened without RA 9184 at that time, Your Honors. Although I was not with the court at that time, but it resulted in the construction of many halls of justice nationwide, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, I just want to let this committee be informed na nagsa po ako ng Senate Bill number 214, an act of providing for the modernization of the Judicial Department, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Now, ito pong panawagan ko at challenge po sa mga taga-DBM. Okay lang po siguro sa ibang departamento, pero pagdating po sa judiciary, dapat po maghumus daily itong mga taga-DBM na basta-basta na naman po cut ng budget propose ng judiciary. Because I already mentioned this earlier, para magkaroon po ng full autonomy ang ating mga korte, kailangan po magkaroon sila ng sapat na budget, hindi po sila naasa, hindi po sila mag-indebted kung kanino-kanino ng departamento ng gobyerno, tulad na banggit kayo ni Sir, yun pong NGO ang papatayo ng mga courts of justice, which is really true. And in that case, kapag po si mayor, si councilor, si bukal ay nagkaroon ng ayay, especially kung mayroon na kababayan yan, tuloy na agad yung kanyang pagtripan dahil siyang may-ari ng Courts of Justice. Yan po yung sitwasyon na nangyari sa atin ngayon. So, maybe ito mga taga-DBM, minsan siguro, pumasyal-pasyal sila sa mga korte natin. Ang challenge ko sa mga taga-DBM, lumabas sa kanilang mga air-conditioned room, punta po sila sa mga korte natin, sa Pasay, sa Manila, sa mga sulok-sulok na kung saan awa-awa po yung itsura ng mga korte natin. Minsan, malas ka, makakatapa ka dyan ng sahig na may nakauslong pa ako. Totoo po to, Mr. Chair, I'm not kidding, dahil hindi na po napaparepair dahil po lang sa budget. At ang galing nito mga taga-DBM, cut na ng budget because hindi sila nakapunta doon sa mga korte. And then siguro, i-review nila yung mga cases, pag-aralan nila, bakit nagdidirit ang mga kaso, bakit ang dami mga nag-aantay ng mga inmates sa mga city jail, years and years na hindi pa natatapos yung kaso, dahil nga meron na tayong mga judges pero wala yung korte. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Salamat po, Mr. Raul Villanueva, Sir.
Maraming salamat po, Your Honor, at maraming salamat din, lalong-lalo na po dun sa ifinal niyo pong modernization of the Judiciary Bill. Mabuhay po kayo.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Senator Rafi Tulfo. Very good points. At talagang gusto natin tulungan ang hudikatura. And just for the record, yung cuts na sinasabi ko ni Sen. Tulfo, hindi po yung Senado ang gumagawa ng cuts na yun.
Sorry.
No, I'd like to just place that. Yeah, I know you didn't mean it that way, sir. That's why I just want to place on record since 2019, even previous to that, the Senate has been increasing the budget of the judiciary. I just like to place that on record. 2019, we increased it by 2.19 billion. 2020, 2.52 billion. 2021, 1.76 billion. 2022, 2.004 billion. Just for the record, Your Honor.
So makasingit lang po, Mr. Chair. Yung DBM, yung ibig sabihin.
Okay.
Okay. Hindi po kung Congress sa Senate.
Yes.
So I stand corrected.
Yes, sir. I think, pero kasi baka yung nakikinig sa atin na hindi nakakaintindi sa
Yes.
proseso po
Yes.
sa pagbabudget, baka akala tayo yung nagtatulong budget.
Yung mga DBM po, mga taga-DBM na medyo malalaking tiyan, siguro yung iba dyan. Joke.
Salamat. Thank you for clarifying that, Senator.
Senator Angara, sir,
Yes, Justice Miranda, sir.
sir, may I say something po?
Yes, please, opo.
Senator Tulfo, thank you very much for pointing that out. Alam niyo po, ang proposed budget natin for this year is 5.68 trillion. Yun po yung pagkaintindi ko. And this amount is to be distributed to the different departments sa ngayon ng gobyerno who all perform very, very important roles. Napaka-importante po yung mga roles nila. And yung mga pinakamalaki pong nakukuha dyan is the Department of Education, the SUCs, yung State Colleges and Universities and CHED, 852.2 billion. 152.2
billion. The DPWH that gets 718.4 billion. The Department of Health that plays a very important role too, lalo na po during this time of pandemic. 296.3 billion. DSWD, 197.2 billion, very important role. The Department of Agriculture, 184.1 billion. But the third branch of government, the Judiciary, which performs an equally important role in the administration of justice. The third branch of government, sir, is just given 5.7 billion, which is just a little over 1% of the 5.268 billion for 2023. Now, for the judiciary to be able to perform its duties well, deliver the required services to the people, as you have just mentioned kanina po, and to properly perform its responsibilities in the administration of justice, Congress must help give the judiciary the budget it seeks and it needs. And we would like to thank Congress, in particular the Senate, for helping increase the budget of the judiciary. And yet po, itong 5.7 billion, kulang pa rin po to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Justice Miranda. For the record, the budget of the judiciary is 52.7 billion. Yes,
52.7, yes, sorry.
thank you. Any other comments? If not, we'll turn it over to Senator Nancy Pinay. Ma'am,
Thank you,
have the
thank you,
floor.
Mr. Chairman. I would no longer ask a question, but siguro in the interest of fairness, meron ba tayong representative from DBM? Online. Maybe they can respond kung bakit nga tinutulan ng budget yung judiciary.
I think that's a common question across the bureaucracy. So, DBM, if they're online, but if not, of course, they'll be coming here for their own budget hearing, and perhaps we can ask them at the time. Doesn't seem that they're online, Your Honor. So,
Mr. Chair,
yes,
dating sa budget deliberation ng DBM, pwede ba akong sumali?
I think pwede ho, dahil miyembro ko kayo ng komite. Napagaling ho ninyo, kaya
Salamat
pwede
po.
ho, pwede.
Thank you. Para ako naman gumisa sa kanila.
Okay. But in fairness, mahirap po ang trabaho ng DBM dahil they're working with finite resources. Kaya napag ko yung interview ni Chairperson, our Vice Chairperson Kimbo ng House. At ang sabi niya, ang description niya ng 2023 budget is infinite wants but limited resources. Kaya po, kumbaga, it's your first budget ho. Pero talaga kami naman ho, sanay na ho kami na talaga halos lahat ng ahensya na po kumaharap po sa amin.
Kung mahirap ang trabaho ng DBM, bakit maraming harap nagpatayo na tayo makakuha ng pwesto sa DBM? Ang una po fact na marami pong gumagapang kung sino-sino mga pensyo pirato kinakapa para lang makakuha ng kahit anong posisyon doon sa DBM.
Okay.
So DBM is a very juicy position.
I'm sure ho, because sa ba't dumadaan po siya itong pananalaman po ng ating
So
gobyerno.
magaling sila mag-cut ng budget sa mga ahensya ng gobyerno na very important yung ginagampanan sa ating lipunan ng responsibilidad tulad na banggit ni Mr. Miranda. Dapat silipin din natin yung mga budget nila. Remember, iba ng mga katiwilan recently ang na-expose, lumantad, nalantad, na enrolled by mga taga-DBM. Diba?
That's right. But in fairness, it wasn't the career employees of the DBM.
I know, pero at least
It was
taga-DBM.
the PSDBM, which found out, Your Honor, in past budget hearings, yung PSDBM parang black box siya eh. Parang kung sa aeroplano may black box na hindi mo alam yung laman. Parang ganun din ho yung may contractual.
No.
Talagang, kaya nga yung iba lang kasamahan natin ho dito, Your Honor, ang proposal nila, tanggalin na ho yung PSDBM kasi parang autonomous unit siya na accountable to no one because lahat po ng empleyado niya ay contractual, tapos parang they have their own procedures na minsan pag nung budget hearing ng BBM na nakaraan, parang hindi sila magkatugma or hindi sila nagko-coordinate. So sabi nga nung ibang kasamahan nandito, dapat daw baka tanggalin na ho yun. That was Senator Amy ho. And in fact, it was a creation of her father. The late FM, no? President FM. So, these are the questions we have to face, Your Honor, that para maganda ho. Pero I totally hear your point, Your Honor, at ang laki ho ng pon na madaan ho dito. So, that's why also, Your Honor, in response, in the past few years, we have placed a provision in the budget to disallow the practice of outsourcing the bidding PSDBM. I think 2 or 3 years na ho namin ginagawa dito to prevent ITC also. Ito ang naging paborito ng ibang ahensya. Number one, it gives the false impression that they are dispersing their budget when actually pinasa lang, nagpasa load lang po sila sa ibang ahensya. Because technically, they disbursed it, but in actual fact, that project is not proceeding. Kumbaga, dead money siya. At pangalawa, it is away from the prying eyes of the public at hindi na monitor ho yung mga transaction doon. At Senator Drilon was one of our colleagues who was very assiduous in pursuing. Siya po yung talagang masigasig dito. At sinasabi niya, yung ibang proyekto dyan, 8 years na, hindi pa nabibid out. So ganun katagal ho. That is the history of the DBM, the PITC. That's why this committee has tried in its own little way to address some of these problems. Short of abolishing, hindi naman natin kapangyarihan yung mag-abolish ng ganon, no? It's probably with the executive, Your Honor. But just a little information and that definitely we appreciate your concern ho dito. Thank you. If there are no other questions,
Siguro, Mr.
Senator Nancy, yes, go ahead now.
Alam, just for the record lang, I fully support the budget of the Judiciary. Ano lang ho, siguro appeal lang, and I think the chairman would also share the same sentiment. Kung pwede bigyang pansin naman po yung mga probate cases na pending ngayon sa mga courts natin. Yan lang po, Mr. Chairman.
Share ko na lang ho. My mother-in-law died in 2015. He only has one child. That's my wife. And the hearing on her as the administrator of the estate, 10 years. A simple matter, just for your information. I did not intervene because, out of respect for the processes of the judiciary, but just to inform you. And nasa Baguio rin yun, dahil sa Baguio rin nakatira. So, my wife had to go up many times to Baguio. So, napopostpone ho. Yung ibang okasyon ho, sasabihin. Maraming minor issues. I don't see that. In the US, they really give, or in other countries, they give really full accord. Yung will of the synod is really equivalent to the law of the land kasi yung will of last will and testament. Dito sa atin parang suggestion lang ang trato ata. Di ba? Sino ba yung mag-administer nun? Di ba? There is no other descendant or living just to share that with you. And I also share the points made by Senator Pulfo because I saw at one point many years ago a litigator for a few years. No? So talagang yung ibang courts of justice talagang patong na po natin. So siguro yung digitalization, baka we can pursue that further, Your Honors.
Yes. Kasama po yun sa strategic plan po ng Supreme Court. And shortly lang po, yung aging cases na tinatawag, meron na pong directive or at least circular to require our judges to those that are aging more than 5 years, not less than 10 years, to have this tried and decided within 6 months. This year po, inano po yan. And for those aging years and above, they are supposed to hear, try, and decide these cases within 1 year lang po.
That's very commendable, Your Honors. Salamat po for that initiative. So you're done, Senator Binay. So we'll turn it over to our minority leader. I think he's the last on the list. Hopefully, wala nang dumating. Si Minority Leader Coco Pimentel. Sir, we have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I have noticed it's already 12 noon. Are you serving lunch? Kasi kung hindi, I will ask in the plenary na lang.
Parang prejudicial question mo yun eh. No? Parang Hindi magiging pabor ng sagot if I tell the truth, Your Honor. But we are serving lunch, but hopefully, I'm sure our justices will appreciate if your questions are to the point, being the brilliant top-notcher that you are, sir.
Well, marami akong tanong, but this is not to make life more difficult to the Supreme Court and the other members of the judiciary in defending their budgets. Ito po ay uh, searching questions so that we can address the problems of our judicial system na katulad do sinabi ni Justice Miranda ba yun? Hindi ko siya nakita sa camera na napakahalaga ng judiciary, not only because it's the third branch of government, but because in real life, in the real functioning of our society, kailangan natin ang functioning justice system. A system where which people believe on, which people trust, and then they are willing to rely on. So, napakahalaga po ng ating judiciary. Kaya yung mabuti nga si Chairman, nabanggit niya yung delay. Si Senator Nancy, nabanggit din ang delay. Si Senator Robin Padilla, nabanggit din po ang delay. Ako, every year, rineraise ko po yan. Kung pwede pong i-summarize po ni Justice Villanueva, ano po ba ang kung pwede po bang ma-summarize po niya na sa budget po na 52.72 billion, ano po yung ating mga programs dito or even purchases or constructions which are primarily meant to address the complaint of delay in the delivery of justice, delay in the resolution of cases and disputes.
Yes,
Yes po.
Senator. Just to confirm what you said, that was Justice Miranda of the Sandigan Bayan who was speaking earlier, Your Honor. And also for the information of the body, si Minority Leader Coco Pimentel was also a chairman of the Committee on Justice at one point. Go ahead, Justice Raul.
Yes po. Well, magandang tanghali po, Your Honor. Regarding the to summarize lang po, siyempre yung ating pong budget principally divided into three: personnel services, MOE, and capital outlay. Capital outlay po natin, tapos lalo nakasama na yung locally funded projects, no? Basically zeroes in on the procurement or the construction of many of some of our halls of justice, which would help, no, insofar as providing sufficient premises or space, no, judges, especially in areas where there are many cases, no, mayroong kumbaga sana mataas ang caseload. For example, in Ilos, Cavite, Your Honor. Likewise, Your Honor, doon sa MOE naman, doon pumapasok po yung mga budget regarding yung mga tumutulong dun sa ating mga judges with respect to deciding cases, especially if they're heavily burdened. Yung mga court congestion officers, nandun po yun, Your Honors. No? And then considering that we need also to engage some contractual employees for purposes of recording our court proceedings, no? So nandun din pumapasok yung mga some of our needs, no, for contractual stenographers kasi because of the qualification standards needed to make them permanent commission, we have to resort to that, no, to make sure that we have enough court stenographers, no, to record our court proceedings para hindi na delay. And then of course, doon na pumapasok din in line with the strategic plan of the Judiciary, of the Supreme Court for the Judiciary, regarding the procurement of IT equipment, Your Honors, which also will include the purchase of video conferencing equipment. Of course, we cannot provide completely, no, all of this in one particular budget, Your Honors. But that's the reason why it's there, Your Honor, because we want to already continue providing this video conferencing equipment because, as mentioned already, aside from in-court proceedings, the court is of course allowing, no, the conduct of video conferencing hearings so that there will be less reason for the other parties to say that they cannot attend due to some physical inability to do so. And pagdating po dun sa pagdating po sa personal services, that's why we're asking for a budget so that we can also provide the necessary staff for newly created courts, Your Honors, and of course to already have some of the unfunded newly created courts to be processed already by the Judicial and by Council. And in the strategic plan of the Supreme Court, Your Honors, tatlo po yan na basic na na pinag-uusapan, efficiency, Your Honors. So it will review the personnel complements of all those in the judiciary, from the Supreme Court, the appellate courts, Your Honors, reviewin po lahat ang plantilla positions yan, including the Office of the Court Administrator and the Office and then the trial courts, Your Honors, nationwide. Also, Your Honors, insofar as innovation is concerned, there's already the provision, the request already and the need for funding with respect to yung mga systems na applications, Your Honors, that we would be using, which includes, as mentioned already, Your Honors, regarding this matter about better, stronger Wi-Fi connection, Your Honors, for the use of our courts, only for the conduct of video conferencing hearings, Your Honors, but also with respect to the submission of required reports so that we can properly monitor their progress, Your Honors. And then also when it comes to because what we want is an IT-driven court, Your Honor. There is also mentioned insofar as this initiative is concerned, Your Honor, the resort to artificial intelligence. It's also there, likewise indicated, Your Honor, and something that we are that is also part of the program already insofar as the strategic plan of the Supreme Court is concerned, Your Honor. But finally, when it comes to access, Your Honors, we're talking about budget in order to make sure that the IBP, Your Honors, and even all other lawyer associations, and including the law schools, Your Honors, are on the same page insofar as providing legal assistance to those who are in need of it, aside from those coming from the Public Attorney's Office, Your Honor. So among others, Your Honors, that are being contemplated insofar as our budget is concerned.
Salamat po. Basta for the record, Mr. Chairman, tuksuhin ko lang to, kaibigan ko to si Justice Raul Villanueva Hindi po ako nagpahaba ng natin ng ating hearing
Hindi ba? Ang problema, Your Honors, willing po kami to respond to all your queries and concerns po.
May kilala yung tanong ko Mr. Chairman, yung sagot ang mahaba. Pero hindi, because tama naman yun, because Justice Villanueva explained the 52 billion worth of ideas. Tama po ba yun, sir? Justice, 52 billion. Hindi ko lang po nakuha yung yung sabi niyo may strategic plan and then 3 parts. Number 1 is efficiency. Ano po yung 2 other parts?
Efficiency, innovation, and access, Your Honor.
Access. Okay, salamat po.
Yeah po.
Mr. Chairman, naalala ko dati, I attended an event na parang computerization sa Quezon City, may mga ganun, meron tayong perang. Kumusta na po yun? I mean, that was maybe more than 5 years ago. Kumusta po yung mga ganung klaseng mga pilot programs na ginawa ng Supreme Court? Were they successful? And what among them did we now adopt?
Yes, Your Honor. I think you're referring to what we refer to as the e-court system, Your Honor. We rolled it out to 14 sites. E-court system, Your Honor. To automate the monitoring and the recording of cases pending before our court. So we actually piloted it to 14 stations, Your Honors. Tuloy-tuloy naman po yan. And of course, because of this project, we're looking into enhancing this, Your Honor, so that later on, it can be rolled out to as many courts as possible, Your Honors. Kaya nag-iisip na po kami ng tinatawag na e-court system 2, Your Honors, to come up with an improved, enhanced program for that.
May budget po yan sa 2023 at magkano po?
Initially, it started with developmental partners helping us, and then nagkaroon na rin po ng budget, but not entirely line item before, but now it is part of yung automation programs po namin, Your Honors.
Under which item po, Justice?
With respect to the procurement of IT equipment, Your Honors.
Okay. Procurement of IT. Okay. IT equipment. Thank you for that. No, and I have noticed in your presentation may mga justice zones. Medyo naiwanan na ako sa idea. Ano po ba ito ang justice zones natin, Justice?
Yes po, Your Honor. These justice zones are areas that are wherein after evaluation by the Justice Sector Coordinating Council, the Justice Sector Coordinating Council is actually composed of three agencies, Your Honors. Of course, one third branch of government, the Judiciary, and then two departments from the Executive, the DILD and the DOJ. So upon the determination and evaluation that a particular station has enough of the components to improve and enhance the coordinative efforts of all of these offices all of the offices under these three agencies and departments, Your Honors. That's when we declare a particular area under justice zone, and these justice zones are expected to regularly meet in order to address situations that may result in perhaps delay or perhaps to improve the administration of justice and to speed up the conduct of trials and the disposition of cases, Your Honors.
I think we have quite a number already of justice zones. Naramdaman na po ba doon sa mga justice zones? Nakatanggap na tayo ng feedback na happy na po ang ating mga kababayan doon, na efficient ang ating delivery of justice?
Well, what I can say is that it's working, Your Honor, in the sense that there is a regular interaction among the justice sector stakeholders, Your Honors, in those particular areas. And then what is being done, and based on the evaluation right now, the dialogues that are being conducted recently in Cebu, Your Honor, it has proven that the justice zone concept is alive and well. The participants or the stakeholders are not only involved in trying to speed up the disposition of cases, Your Honors, but also to come up with projects that are intended, Your Honor, to further contribute the kind of services that are being delivered by the different stakeholders, Your Honors.
Sige po. When was this launch? Para lang malaman ko po, let's give this time to siguro to deliver the fruits para mag-survey po tayo, at kami naman po mga nasa politics can also feel the pulse of the people kung naramdaman ba yung expected benefits from having been declared as a justice zone.
Yes, Your Honor. It started in 2014, Your Honor, in Quezon City. And then during the time of Chief Justice Tagsita de Castro, there was one in Cebu. And then later on, during the time of Chief Justice Lucas Bersamin, there were, I think, three during his watch. And during the time of Chief Justice Gustavo Peralta, there was one or two. The last one was in Calamba during his watch. And then, of course, during the time of Chief Justice Alexander Esmundo, at least two already were launched, Your Honor.
Thank you, Justice Villanueva. Meron tayong mga halls of justice, construction program, parang ganon. I've seen the list of completed projects, may ongoing projects tayo. Kumustahin ko lang po yung kasi alam ko nasunog yung Hall of Justice namin sa Cagayan de Oro. How is it na, Justice?
Yes po, Your Honor. Actually, there was already effort. There are efforts already to come up with a building, to replace the one that was burned down, Your Honor. But later on, the Supreme Court decided to come up with a judiciary complex that will house both the trial courts in Cagayan de Oro and the Court of Appeals, Your Honor. So that's a judiciary complex that will be constructed in the donated property, in Cagayan de Oro, Indang, Cagayan de Oro, Your Honor. Indahan, sorry. Thank you, boss. Thank you.
Mga kailan magsa-start yan, Justice? And ano yung timetable nun? Start and then finish?
We are already in the stage where we are engaging the services of a consultant to prepare the detailed architectural engineering design. We expect that perhaps to be done already if we're able to award it already Kung kunwari within the year, for example, gawin na natin for example December, they are given up to 6 months to finish the design. So after, siguro by the third quarter of next year, Your Honor, magbibid out na kami sa, sa contractor, Your Honor.
And then plus from your experience, kung judiciary complex, mga ilang taon po to put it up?
Dahil malaki-laki ng konti, Your Honor, yung buildings kasi marami po tayong courts sa Cagayan de Oro, trial courts, and then of course 9 offices ng Court of Appeals Justices, Your Honors. Siguro mga 2 to 2.5 years, Your Honor.
2 to 2.5 plus the bidding the half a year na sinabi niyo pa, so 3 taon from now.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, aside from the amounts, Justice, ito lang pagdating po sa special provisions, dalawa lang po yung inyong meron kayong proposed amendment. So we will just study this. Ito pong proposal ninyo. Tama po ba 'yan?
Yes,
Dalawa po.
Yes, Your Honor, dalawa lang po. Special provision number 2, we are asking that the wordings used in the and as appearing in the GAA for 2022 be used except the amount lang kasi we're willing to increase our share with respect to the SADS, Your Honor. And then with respect to special provision number 7, again the wordings used in the present GAA be used again for that particular special provision, Your Honor.
Ano ba ito special provision number 2? You are turning over 600 million plus back to the
Treasury, Your Honor. National Treasury. Yes, Your Honor.
So the judiciary is turning over. Okay, so
Your Honor.
very good. So and we thank the judiciary for that. Kung meron talagang excess funds at may savings or hindi na kailangan, dapat ibalik po. Mr. Justice, ito pong reporting natin sa targets versus accomplishments. Ito lang po yung napansin ko. Kasi correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Justice. Kunyari, target disposal versus actual disposal, and then we get the percentage of accomplishment rate. But ang tanong ko, how do you get to the target disposal? Hindi ba that is yung target disposal natin is a number of cases from the actual pending cases. So malas naman nung mga hindi nasasama sa target disposal, baka hindi sila priority.
No, Your Honor, the target disposal is actually what is kumbaga provided in the GAA and what is provided as our target or aim insofar as disposing number of cases, for example, is concerned. So that is determined even before we submit, Your Honor, the proposed budget of the judiciary to the DBM. So, kumbaga it varies. It depends on the appreciation coming from our finance people as well as with the DBM, Your Honor, regarding this target. And usually, it's based on your years, Your Honors. Kuminsan it's the same, kuminsan for one particular year, kuminsan nag-i-increase na po siya, Your Honor.
Yes, parang naintindihan ko yun. Pero that number under target disposal is of course lesser than the actual pending cases, hindi po ba?
The target is usually lesser, correct, Your Honor, than the pending cases, Your Honors. Well, historically, it's based on perhaps the performance of the judiciary for the past years. That's why the numbers are being generated, Your Honors. But like I said, if there is a need to increase it, of course, we abide by that increase in the number of the targets, Your Honor.
So sometimes, kita ko naman, sometimes you exceed the target. Pero kasi and you use the target for budgeting. That's now how I understand it.
Yes, Your Honor.
How you propose your budget. Well, yun na nga. So, we should siguro inculcate in our members of the judiciary the urgency to dispose, decide, and settle the issues and the conflicts behind all of the cases filed. Kasi the mere fact na umabot na sa judiciary yan, sa mata ng one of the parties, urgent na life or death situation na po para sa kanila yan. Kasi otherwise, iiwas ka talaga to file a case dito po sa Pilipinas. So, I hope na siguro part ng program natin is yung pag ano lang po, you just keep on pounding on the concept of the urgent need to decide a case, because behind the case is an actual conflict among citizens or among residents of the Republic of the Philippines, di ba? Which contribute to friction in society. Yun ang purpose natin, to lessen the friction in society.
Yes, we completely agree, Your Honor. That's why all of us in the judiciary, Your Honor, with respectfully, I would like to at least say the Supreme Court, down to the appellate courts, the Court of Appeals, the Sandigan Bayan, and the Court of Tax Appeals, and then all the trial courts, Your Honors, in the first and second levels, very much conscious about that, Your Honor. And in fact, in the strategic plan of the Supreme Court, that's also one of the thrust, Your Honors, insofar as efficiency, the outcome and efficiency is concerned, Your Honor.
O sige po, basta andito lang po kami talagang pledging our support to the budget of the Supreme Court and all of the other courts, especially if this will lead to efficiency, speedy disposition and settlement of the cases. People are happy with the justice system. People are trusting of the system, and people are proud of the justice system na pagmamayabang na po nila sa mga kaibigan nila sa ibang bansa. So, well, this is a continuing effort. Tutulungan po tayo as a lawyer. Alam ko po talaga ang napaka-critical role po ng judicial department po sa ating bansa. And then of course, given all the conflicts na nakikita natin sa ating bansa, given all the scams na kailangan given all of the corrupt deals that we see. So kailangan po talaga kayo mga kaibigan namin sa judiciary. And nandito lang po kami to help you. I think ang hindi nabigay sa inyo 21 billion po ba, Justice Villanueva, from the
Yes po, yes po, that more or less what was not included is about 21 billion, but we're only asking for about 2.8 billion, Your Honor, as additional budget for 2023.
To go to where yun, Justice? Yung 2.8.
Yung pong all spread to the Supreme Court and lower courts 1.8, and then to the appellate courts, Your Honors, or the third level court, sorry, to the Court of Appeals, the Sandigan Bayan, and the Court of Tax Appeals, Your Honors.
Basically what? Basically on what purchase or allowances?
Many are for other personal benefits, Your Honors, and then some with respect to the funding needed for the Judicial Integrity Board, the adjustment of the salaries of our first level clerks of court, Your Honors, and then some MOE items, Your Honors, and then of course the bar exams, Your Honors, for 2023, because it was not included as a line item insofar as this matter is concerned, Your Honor.
Sige, knowing the workload of the members of the judiciary, sa RTC yata, tagpa 500 o 600. Sa MTC, tag 200 yata. I don't know sa Court of Appeals. So, medyo kakayod tayong lahat, and we should be well compensated, and the state should recognize this, and of course, compensate naman. As a gesture of appreciation, there will be compensation for the hard work. Hindi lang dapat hard work, for the very hard work of the members of the judiciary. Kasi kailangan yung 500 na yon, ibaba sa zero yon. Kasi lahat yun are actual conflicts in our society na kailangan mabigyan po natin ng solusyon, mabigyan natin ng ending para po to have a more harmonious Philippine society. So, Mr. Chairman, I know it's getting late, so kung meron po man ako nakaligtaan, just please give me a little more time during plenary discussions, Mr. Chairman. So, but for the moment, so thank you very much for the time you've given me, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to Justice Villanueva for responding to our questions. But I'll make the statement that this representation is supportive of the judiciary, all its programs, and will extend budgetary support to as much as humanly possible. So maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much to our very hardworking, very intelligent, and brilliant minority leader. And salamat po, sir, for your concern for the judiciary. I'm sure it's much appreciated by our resource persons. If there are no other comments, I think maybe we'll give a chance to maybe other members of the panel who wish to say anything.
Yes, Your Honor, perhaps may we ask to be recognized.
Yeah. Kung meron tayong program,
Justice Salazar Fernando. If for some...
baka lang may dadagdag ho. Or...
Good afternoon, Your Honors.
Afternoon,
Thank you very much for this opportunity. And on the part of the Court of Appeals, would like to thank everyone for supporting the entire judiciary, particularly the Court of Appeals. We're just appealing for additional 500 million for the Court of Appeals. If you notice, Your Honor, on the performance of the Court of Appeals, for 2021, we had a low performance but a higher clearance rate. It's because for more than a year, we had 18 vacancies, Your Honor. So all cases for assigned to the 18 justices were divided among the incumbent justices. It was only last March until May that 15 new justices were assigned to us. And from March to August, we increased already our performance, Your Honor. And as far as delay is concerned, we already aged our cases pursuant to our mandate under the Constitution. We have 12 months to decide cases submitted for decision. And I'm happy to inform you that we have 3,003 cases which are less than 3 years old, 1 year old. So it's within the Constitution. 1 year old cases are 506. And we only have one case which is 3 years old, Your Honor. So wala na pong 5 years and 10 years. So
that's very commendable. Congratulations po, PJ.
yes. Thank you very much. For our MOOE, the reason why we're asking for additional budget is because we had no fees for the Cagayan de Oro for almost 2 years because our office in Cagayan de Oro was damaged because of the earthquake. We had to transfer to the Xavier University only last week. And rental for office space, Your Honor, in Cagayan rose for 3 times. Even in Cebu also, we had to increase payment of our rentals. That's the reason why we had to file a motion for reconsideration. Rest assured, Your Honor, that we will always perform our mandate, and we will assure you that justice will be felt by our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's most reassuring.
May I ask that to be recognized, Justice Garland?
Opo, we recognize Associate Justice Samuel Garland of the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gusto ko lang sanang dagdagan yung concern kanina ni Senator Robin Hood Padilla tungkol ho doon sa hindi masyado maintindihan ng mga litigants yung proseso ho sa korte, kagaya ho sa pagiging sa English. Ngayon ho ay meron hong kapapasalamang na rules ng ating judikatura, yun hong small claims rules kung saan dahil bawal ho ang mga abogado na mag-appear sa mga korte,
kung hindi ang mga litigants lamang. Kaya ho, ang ginawa ho ng Korte Suprema ay nagkaroon din ho ng mga forms kung saan ito ay meron din sa Bisaya at saka sa Tagalog. Hindi lang ho English yun para ho yung mga litigants o yung mga may problema ay maintindihan ho nila kung paano ho nila fill upan ang mga forms na yan. Ito ho ay hindi lamang sa English, kung hindi meron din ho sa Bisaya at saka sa Tagalog. Salamat po.
Very much for that. Makakatulong ho yan sa ating mga kababayan. Ipapass on natin yung information ho. Thank you, Justice Gerland. Any other
Perhaps,
honor?
Presiding Justice Kabutahitang.
Yes, of course.
He can be recognized, Your Honor.
Yes, of course, Your Honor. Presiding Justice Kabataytang.
May I also remove my mask here?
Yes, of course, please, please.
First of all, the Sandigan Bayan extends its deepest appreciation to the Senate for consistently actually granting all our requests for increase in our budget. And for that, we are deeply grateful. And also asking for a reconsideration of the amount that was reduced by the DBM owners, and the amount that we are asking for reconsideration actually as requested to the DBM is 146,947 million pesos, Your Honors. Regarding the issue of delay that was mentioned earlier by some of the senators, Your Honors, the Sandigan Bayan, for its part, has actually already disposed yes, the issue of delay that it was actually made an issue against it in the past. Now we have an average, I think, disposition period of around between 3 to 5 years, and this is still being addressed consistently. And also regarding the accomplishment of the court, this has also increased immensely, especially with the addition of additional divisions of the Sandigan Bayan. So again, thank you very much, Your Honors.
Well, thank you to Presiding Justice Kabataytang and maybe Justice Miranda. Anything to add, sir? Of course, we heard you loud and clear earlier, sir, on what you said regarding the budget. Ho.
Yeah, thank you very much, Senator. I echo what our PJ has said. Thank you to the Senate in particular
Thank
for
you.
always supporting us in our budget needs. And just to add to Justice Gerland, sir, in response to the matter raised by Senator Robin Padilla, yung tungkol po doon sa mga bilanggong nahihirapan po maintindihan yung mga decision tungkol sa kanila. Maganda yung sigurong lawigin yung edukasyon sa Bilibid, because inside Bilibid, meron pong mga aralan from grade school, high school to college, K to 12. May college po, University of Perpetual Help doon. May alternative learning system, School of Fine Arts, and so forth. So it is possible for an inmate come in. Marami yung ganun. Hindi po nakapag-aral, pero paglabas, it's either nakapagtapos sila na high school o kuminsan college po. Yun lang po. Because in addition po, if they go to school, Congress, Senate, Republic Act 10592, which gives additional benefits in terms of reducing the sentence of the prisoners who are involved in studying, mentoring, and teaching. Yun lang po. Thank you very much.
Very good suggestion. Thank you very much for that, for sharing that with us, Your Honor, Justice Miranda, and we appreciate the kind words extended by Your Honor and Presiding Justice. Salamat po. And rest assured, we will continue to the Judiciary. Yeah.
Your Honor, may I just request to be recognized Presiding Justice Roman De Rosario?
Yes, of course. Presiding Justice De Rosario. The floor, sir.
Yes, magandang hapon po, distinguished senators. I'd like to share with you that every time we have our budget hearings, especially before this honorable body, I always call for an en banc. And for the past several years, the en banc, on behalf of the CTA, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude and appreciation for all the support that you have been extending to the Court of Tax Appeals. In fact, for in the past year alone, the budget that we requested from the DBM was actually cut substantially. But because of the support of the Senate, we practically were able to get the entire amount we requested for. Sana po in this part, for this particular year, for the 2023, we would also be able to get back what has been reduced by the DBM. Sa DBM po, we actually requested for an additional 247.96 million. And of course, knowing fully well the limited resources of government, I understand po that we have reduced it also substantially in compliance with the policy of the Supreme Court to more or less temper also the different requests of the different courts so that the limited resources of government can be spread out. So ngayon po, if it is possible for us to get the 247.96 million, that would be of great assistance to us. We are now also in the process of constructing our new building. And for this reason, we needed more people to man and supervise the construction. So what was actually removed from us includes an overtime and night pay, which we intend really to provide to our employees. And for one, even the health insurance premiums was removed by the DBM, and the reclassification of grading of positions, which are really indispensable the operation of the court, has actually been removed by the DBM for reasons that's of course explained to us. So having shared the budgetary request of the CTA, I would like also to more or less share with the August body the fact that insofar as the CTA is concerned, all cases, once submitted for decision, are able to be decided within only a 1-year period. And we have been very consistent with that. So from January to June 2022, the target disposal is only 176, but we will actually able to dispose 328 cases, or a total of an accomplishment rate of 186%, Your Honor. And if the court would notice, our target disposal is 352, and the Court of Tax Appeals has only 3 divisions. Yet, if we compare our target disposal to, with all due respect to Sandigan Bayan, which has several divisions, if you would notice, our target disposal is almost equal with that of the Sandigan Bayan. So, it's not actually...
Kayo magagaling. Lahat kayo magagaling.
It's not actually saying po that the CTA is better, but maybe the complicated cases go to the Sandigan Bayan more than the CTA. That must perhaps be the only reason. And since we are a specialized court, we more or less know already the technique and the skills necessary to dispose of tax cases. Yung pong kanina naman, yung tungkol sa mga desisyon natin na supposedly, sabi nga ni Senator Robin, it should be in the local dialect or in Tagalog, Filipino. Unfortunately po, especially when we read evidence and when we go to the law, karamihan po yan kasi English. The documents are all in English, official documents na ipinipisa. These are tax cases po. Makita po natin na when we talk of tax cases, meron po mga official reports, meron mga invoices. They're all in English. So lahat po yan. Then when we look into the law itself, the law is also written in English. Siguro po, it's better to explain that the lawyers of these litigants are actually officers of the court. Sila rin po siguro meron silang responsibility really to explain to their clients on what the case is all about. Pero masyado pong drastic kasi na expect natin na all decisions would be in Tagalog or in Filipino. When the documents presented in court, when the laws themselves are all written in English. Yun lang po siguro I'm just trying to share my thoughts on the matter po. And maraming salamat po ulit, Your Honors.
Thank you very much, PJ Del Rosario, and appreciate your efforts and your kind words for the committee. So kung wala na po, we'd like to thank our officials. Yes, Minority Leader Pimentel.
Okay. I have heard some amounts mentioned. Kasama, just for clarification, kasama na po ito sa 2.8 billion na pinag-usapan kanina?
Yes, Your Honor, yung mga binanggit po ng different presiding justices po, Your Honor, yes.
Okay, except yung sa CTA, I think they want a bigger amount. 124 lang yung nasa 124M lang yung nasa 2.8B, pero I think Justice De Rosario mentioned 247M. Yung pa rin po ang gusto niya.
Mathematician talaga.
Actually po kasi there is already a communication sent to the DBM. So I just mentioned the amount we sent to the DBM as part of our motion for reconsideration with the DBM. So if we are going to go by the policy of the CTA regarding the amount that is really necessary, 147 po talaga. Pero kinalahati na lang namin yun kasi the Supreme Court is actually very much aware of the limited resources of government. Kaya binawasan po namin. But if it is possible for this August body to give the bigger amount, we would be very appreciative of that, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, pwede naman po, di ba? Theoretically speaking.
Ayaw po, procedurally there's nothing which prevents us. It's only the fiscal constraints that we deal with. So I think tayo naman, nasa prioridad ho natin, pareho tayong abogado. So nasa, if not the very top of the list yung hudikatura, pareho tayong sa pag-iisip.
One final thought, Mr. Chairman, kasi we are all concerned about delay. No need to respond or to debate on this matter. Pero pakitingin lang, I'm just appealing to our members of the judiciary because they draft the rules of court. Pakitingin na lang po because the delay can also be not only in the rendering of the decision or judgment observing the constitutional time limits, pero the delay can happen from the filing up to the date the case is submitted for decision. Pwedeng may delay doon eh. Tapos, nag-decide within the constitutional time period and the delay can also come in the resolution of the MR. So, yan po ang mga nakalap natin na mga feedback from the stakeholders in our justice system. So, kung pwedeng pakitignan doon on how we can tighten also the rules in the rules of court so that we can also minimize delays in these two other aspects of case resolution. So thank you again, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, that's well taken. Certainly delays can happen at all stages. And from what I heard, I can see that this court and this court administrator is very sincere in fighting all these problems, delays. Kaya yung mga ganyan dapat pinopromote ko yung mga ganong kompleto ko mag-present at ganda ho ang pagsagot, masigasig po sa mga problema ng judikatura. Parang si Justice Maidas dati sila Justice Rowe dapat tiniriwal yung kanyang magandang services. Si Justice Sami dati nasa Court of Appeals. Pinomote ko sa ganun talaga dapat sa gobyerno. Pag magandang serbisyo dapat pinopromote.
Chairman, baka he can follow the footsteps of the previous court administrator.
Talagang mukhang magaling ang he was the deputy court administrator for Court Administrator Marquez, who is now one of our honorable justices. So salamat po sa inyo, Your Honors, for a very comprehensive, complete presentation. And we would like to support you as much as we can and as because I think the record will bear us out na sumusuporta naman ang aming institusyon sa inyo. Salamat sa tulong po nila Senator Nancy. Lagi po. Sabay ho kami pumasok 2013. Kaya mapapalas na rin po kami dito. Eh sana may makapromote mo tayo saan. just kidding. Just kidding, Your Honors. But our sincere thanks to Court of Administrator Villanueva, Sir, Honorable Justice Maides Marquez, Honorable Justice Samuel Gerlan, Presiding Justice Amparo Cabotahitang, Justice Carl Miranda from the Sandigan Bayan, Presiding Justice Salazar Fernando from the Court of Appeals, and Presiding Justice Roman Del Rosario from the Court of Tax Appeals. And to your respective staffs, congratulations for a well budget presentation. Oh, thank you very much, Your Honors. Let's suspend this budget ruling for the meantime. Thank you very much, Your Honors.